Someone said, I've had several warnings. Yeah, I hear you. Mary said, does this administration watch your videos? That's a good question, Mary. I don't know. I do know his campaign manager follows me on Twitter, and I'm always talking trash. I mean, I'm not being rude. I'm pretty firm. And I'm going to explain why that actually makes sense, too, because the first thing we're going to talk about today is Trump retweeted Michelle Malkin, who's a conservative woman. She's been on Fox News for the past 10, 20 years. She challenges his administration every day. She's talking about the Trump administration, what they're not doing for free speech. And he responds to that. It's actually a good thing to challenge the president. When you have clout, when you have a following, or you have the respect like someone Michelle Malkin has, we don't need another Trump cheerleader. There's enough people who just say everything's perfect, everything's great. It's cool. You know, support him when he does the right thing. Challenge him when they're not doing enough. And that's what she did, and he responded to it in a positive manner, proving once again that it's okay to stand up for America and the Constitution over political lines. So does he watch my channel? Probably not. Do people in his administration see my posts? Absolutely. And you know, there's a lot of everyday new celebrities and people with a lot of big followings. They keep messaging me and following me on Instagram, and you know, I've gotten a lot of messages from a lot of people. Our work reaches far. And if you want to know how far, I think I have 300 or 400 million views. So, and certain posts are getting shared massively. It's not a boast. I'm just saying, you know, the world happens quickly. Look how fast they turned it into a pandemic. Do this, do that, wear masks, everyone. Next thing you know, the whole world shifted in a week. That's the beautiful part of it too, with social media, which is why we're talking about it, which is why they want to control it. We have the power to put out a documentary, get 20 million views, to put out a documentary, get 30 million views. They'll delete it, but they can't delete it because then, you know, Alex Jones will upload it to band.video, or they'll upload it to BitChute, or someone will upload it to Vimeo, or wherever they can find a place to go. So you get what I'm saying? It's a good thing. We're winning. Today I feel good. I'm gonna be on a positive note. Someone said Trump is proposing censoring. I can't say what he is and what he isn't doing, but what I can do is use whatever I have, whatever you call this, use this to say the right thing. Use this to get as many people as we can in the right direction to, you know, put pressure on whoever it is to do the right thing. Jay asks, how can they go after Facebook when they're a private company? It's a good question. We're going to talk about it in a second. Let's get some. Who is that? Gina. Thank you so much, Gina. I appreciate you. God bless you. You're much appreciated. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Ooh, it's a little. Someone said Chicken Little comes to mind when I see so much fear. I hear you. All right, let's get into it. And then at the end, I'll answer some questions and hang out. So I woke up today like I wake up every day. And, you know, I hang out for a little bit, but then I log into Twitter like people log into Facebook and Instagram, you know, whatever your vice is. I log in and I see something that's optimistic. I'm like, you know what? Today's going to be a good day. I seen President Trump retweet Michelle Malkin, who I love, by the way. The kids call her Mommy Malkin. You don't have to call her that, but I think it's funny. Trump retweeted her and said, the radical left is in total command and control of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google. The administration is working to remedy this illegal situation. Stay tuned and send names and events. Thank you, Michelle. He retweeted in America. Remember yesterday, if you guys were here? If not, you missed it. It's all good. We had fun without you. If you were here, I referenced the America First kids. I don't agree with them on everything. I don't support. I'm me, they're them. You know, it's all love. But I said they actually stand up for themselves, and Michelle Malkin has been a big defender of these kids, not because of hate speech and racism or whatever they say, because she understands that these kids share a lot of views that she has on immigration, on free speech, and she sees them as the kids who are actually fighting for something they believe in, as opposed to a lot of people who are just kind of cheerleaders. You know, everything's fine. And I love that Trump retweeted her video, because Michelle Malkin was complaining about social media censorship, and every day, if you follow her on Twitter or other social media, she complains about the Trump administration. She complains about Kushner. She complains about immigration. She complains about Republicans. She nonstop pretty much bashes the Republican Party as a Republican, but not in a mean way, in an honest way, in a what I consider respectful way, I'm an American over a Republican. I'm a constitutionalist over a cheerleader. I'm a real person over a phony mouthpiece. And that's why I love Michelle Malkin. She's been in the game. She's got that big girl clout, like Fox News type clout, but she doesn't just do nothing with it. She uses her power for good to stand up for what's right and not just make excuses for the Trump administration. And like I've talked about here for weeks and months, because I've heard Trump say it himself, he likes people who challenge him. He likes people who don't agree with him if they're standing up for the right. He's not a snowflake. Trump is not somebody who needs everybody to agree with him. He likes it, I'm sure. He likes fans and supporters, but he's also a businessman. This is not the first time somebody's, struck a deal with Trump or tried to leverage their power to get something. His whole life is about that. That's all he knows. So it's okay to stand up when he's not doing the right thing. That's what Michelle Malkin does on a day-to-day basis. Trump didn't curse her out. He said, thank you. Thank you for pointing out social media. Thank you. I'm working on it. He said, I'm working to remedy this illegal situation. So that's the first and foremost thing people need to understand. I'm not a traitor. I'm not a liar. I'm not a sellout. Nobody's paying me. The reason I say this stuff is because I believe in what conservatives pretend to believe in. And I know there's tens of millions of conservatives that believe in that too. Everyone doesn't have social media. Everyone's not a blue check mark, verified, conservative. The real people believe in real stuff, and there's very few people who stand up for real Americans like the Rand Pauls and the Michelle Malkins, and I respect that, and so does Trump. So you need to know that. It's okay to hold your ground. You don't always have to play the game of the left. Well, Trump's doing this because the liberal media is gonna, they'll crucify him if he doesn't do it. Guys, they're gonna do it to him whether he does it or doesn't do it. They're never gonna like him. They're never going to appreciate them. They're never going to tell the truth about him. He could cure a disease and they'll say he started 10 new diseases. So stop making excuses. It's better to just tell the truth. It's like they're not going to like him. The only way he's going to get better press is if he drops the hammer on some real big corruption that everyone's waiting for. If he could drop the hammer and show proof of really messed up stuff and liberate the world and show the world that really bad people are held accountable and convince both sides that they're really bad with proof, that's going to be the turning moment in the media. Besides that, there is no pleasing them. They're going to run this thing into the ground. So that's the day we're all hoping for. Hasn't come yet, but maybe it will. So let's get into Politico, Wall Street Journal, Independent. Everybody's reporting this. It started, I believe, in the Wall Street Journal. Google could face antitrust suits by summer as DOJ states move toward decision. Trump administration likely to sue Google, sources say. And it says the suits would make the search and advertising giant the first huge tech company to face concrete action from more than a year of probes. So the last time they did this was with Microsoft. I believe they had some sort of antitrust situation. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but let's be honest, Microsoft is not doing so well. I'm not saying that really happened, but when you think of Microsoft, they're not as big as Google. They're not as big as Facebook. They have Xbox, they have computers, but Apple, I believe, kind of took over in that market. But, Microsoft's Microsoft. Bill Gates has gone on to more important things like blocking the sun with Harvard and, funding, big pharma and stuff, really nice guy. But anyway, the Justice Department has been looking into Google, and a lot of people said, well, they're a private company. How can the government hold them accountable? Just because you're a private company doesn't mean you're above the law. Like, every private company is not allowed to do whatever they want. In fact, if you own a private company and you're a florist or you're a restaurant or you're a mechanic or you're a moving company, if you're a private business, if you noticed anything over the past few months, I think everybody noticed, you're not free to do as you like. In fact, the federal government seems to be able to shut you down, say you can only have half as many people, you got to have a line out the door, the line's got to be 6 feet apart, this person needs a mask, you can't open until May 15th. So why would people think that Facebook and Google can do whatever they want when no other private company on the planet can even open up and run businesses normally? So if there's any time to look into Google and Facebook, it's now. So basically, they're looking into antitrust laws of some sort, and they're looking to file some sort of thing. I'm going to go down. It says, both the Justice Department and the state's attorney generals are focused on Google's dominance in the advertising technology market, though they are also looking into the tech giant's power over search rankings in Android. So they're looking into multiple things. It looks like their advertising situation, which I believe Tulsi Gabbard sued Google because after the debate, Tulsi Gabbard was crushing. I'm talking about #1 searched in almost every state. Out of all of the clown, Amy Klobuchar, she looks like Toadstool from Mario. She's like, my hair fares in a blizzard. And you're just like, who are these people? Like, I was talking about on everywhere, I guess, wherever I talk, it's like WWE, except when you watch WWE pro wrestling, it's impressive because they're athletes, they're timing elbows, it looks like they're getting punched in the face, they're jumping off of things, falling on tables. You're like, wow, even though it's scripted, it's very impressive. You have to be strong, you have to be smart, you have to be perfectly timed or you'll break your neck and die. I mean, the WWE is phenomenal. I'm not a huge fan or anything, but it's impressive to do that. What the Democratic Party is doing and the Republican Party, it's not impressive. Amy Klobuchar, she looks like that woman from SNL too. The one that's like, it's like this is like not impressive at all. It's like Joe Biden and Amy Klobuchar. It's like this. At least if you're gonna do WWE, make it impressive. But anyway, I don't know how I got on that tangent. I just had to say that. But they're looking into. Oh, the reason I was saying it, I remember now. It's because Tulsi Gabbard was crushing these clowns in the circus. She was the biggest, ringleader of the circus. And then after the debate, Google decided to mess with her advertisements. So as a woman running for president, #1 searched everywhere, she was trying to blast out a bunch of Google ads after she crushed everybody else and made Kamala Harris look like a little baby. And she couldn't do it. So she sued Google. She's like, you guys are trying to hold me back when I'm the talk of the town. You won't let me run ads. And that's Google and Facebook and Instagram, who's owned by Facebook, and YouTube, that's owned by Google. They have a massive, massive bias. It's not just a political bias. It's not just a social bias. It's like they don't even know what they're doing anymore. They have a whole terms and conditions, and then they'll delete your video and not even tell you specifically what you did. You said this. If you're going to delete my video, what did I say? What was it? Did I say this? That's a problem. They don't know. They don't like you. They delete you. Can anyone else do this? Is this legal? And I hope Trump's looking into this. I'm not saying he is, but can you arrest somebody on the street and say, you're arrested? Well, what did I do? Did I speed? I don't know. Did I go through a crosswalk on a red light or something? No, you're arrested, but I'm not going to tell you why you're arrested. And then you find out they don't even know why they arrested. You can't do that in any other situation. So why would social media be able to do that? There's a lot of aspects that Trump could look into. The fact that they rigged advertising against people like Tulsi Gabbard politically, or made a mistake at a crucial time, which cost her a lot of stuff. Someone said, what's the proof? We'll get into it, but I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But anyway, how they do it is multiple things. They have AI, first of all. They work with artificial intelligence. And if you want proof, just look into how they operate on Google. They have machine learning and computerized algorithms look and scan a bunch of things for what they consider, hate speech and all this stuff. But you have to look into, and I've read many articles about it, you have to look into what they consider hate speech and how they program the algorithms. Because this is the thing, I don't know if the Justice Department could look into this or Trump could look into this, but what they do is they program the algorithm a certain way. So 7 years ago, if you noticed on YouTube, or 8 years ago, probably 5 years ago, on YouTube and Google, it was so different. When you searched YouTube, you searched about the moon, you searched about the sun, you searched about climate change, you searched about Trump, you would find the most popular video. They had their algorithms filtered to say, if it gets this many likes, this many comments, this many views, they have complex algorithms. It's not just one thing. But they take all these things into occurrence and say, this is who gets to be the first search. So you had people like Mark Dice, you had people that support Trump, people that didn't like Trump, independent users, musicians, whoever had the best video, according to their algorithm, got to go to the top. That's all changed now. The whole thing is rigged on YouTube. When you search YouTube, they now program into their algorithm, they say, if you're not Bloomberg, if you're not New York Times, Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, if you're not one of the big 5 corporations that control the entire planet, and when it comes to the media, if you're not them, you don't get to be at the top. I could have 20,000 times as many views as them. I could have more likes, more comments, better ratio, better content, better editing, all of that stuff. But you'll never get to the top because it's not allowed anymore. The entire YouTube search algorithm is rigged to favor corporations. And Susan Wojcicki admits this, and she doesn't need to admit it. I can see it for myself, and I'm good enough with computers to know what they're doing. but she admitted we're boosting news sites that people don't want to see. We're doing it because we believe that they're trusted. We know people don't want to watch it, but we boost them anyway, and we derank people that aren't them. I don't know what Susan Wojcicki knows about YouTube, but the whole reason that YouTube was created in the first place was to let independent people post their videos. That's what made YouTube awesome. Cat videos, dog videos, beautiful singers, kids singing, women singing, handicapped people singing, like things that you wouldn't see anywhere else. You won't see it on the television, just raw talent from all sorts of people. You got paraplegic people doing flips, like crazy stuff, like fights. I mean, you could censor some fights if they get too dangerous, but that was where you had a voice that you could get past corporate media. You didn't need to wait for American Idol. You could post your talents or your opinion or your perspective and get seen. And the people can decide whether they liked it or not. YouTube was a beautiful thing. I started rapping on YouTube in 2008. I didn't have a major label. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a microphone. I didn't have a family that knew what the business is. I was just a kid with a car and a cell phone, and I was able to get 1 million views in a year because I made good stuff and I had a smart strategy. That was a beautiful thing. YouTube was not created so Susan Wojcicki and Google could rig all the traffic away from all these independent creators who are working 20 times as hard as the corporations, and then funnel it back to Fox News and funnel it back to, the trusted corporate media. That's not what YouTube was about. It's the complete opposite. CNN, MSNBC, they get all the views. You can't find who you want to do. They started doing that. That's the exact opposite of what it was. And the crazy part about it is, I've been on YouTube since 2008. All of the conspiracy theorists, this is what they used to call them, conspiracy theories. They made videos explaining how YouTube was going to be corporately owned. And they said, Google took over YouTube. This is what's going to happen. I watched videos in 2009 saying what was going to happen is going to happen. And everyone's like, that's crazy. YouTube would never do that. Google's never going to do that. That's not going to happen. You're a nut. You're a nut job. You're a nutcase. Everything that they said was going to happen happened times 4. It's even worse than they predicted. And that's what always happens to the crazy people. They say what no one wants to hear 10 years in the past. Everyone makes fun of them. Then it happens. And then those people get deleted off the internet. So overall, YouTube is going insane. I mean, not only is the entire search algorithm rigged, but they delete videos and they delete people every single day. And they don't give a reason. That's the craziest part. Could you imagine being arrested and not given a reason for what you did? Is that even illegal? They do. They delete my video. Why? They can't tell me why they deleted it because there's nothing in. One of my videos was me reading the New York Times. I'm reading the New York Times and saying, wow, the New York Times reported this is a pretty big deal. That's a big story. Deleted. I'm not allowed to read one of your trusted news sources because you don't like what I said about it. Like, they're psychotically insane. And if they could make everyone wear a mask at the airport, I'm pretty certain the Trump DOJ could do that as well. And I want to read something too, because there's a problem with these people being so biased politically. They have no common sense, and then they lose sight of what is important. YouTube, I want to see, this was a big story the other year. So let me see. I got to find the story. It says, YouTube, they're talking about this. I can't find the exact story, but you got to look into it. They had a huge problem with child predators a couple years ago, and they had to totally do a huge thing because they had a bunch of child predators preying on kids and stuff. You got to look into it. But it was a huge story, barely went unnoticed. But it's like that type of stuff happens when their priorities are screwed up. You see it in Democrat states. I'm not trying to make this political, but it's just real. In Orange County, they released one guy was arrested for beating up elderly people, sexually molesting children, and they let him out of jail. Why are you letting him out of jail? I can't go on the beach. I can't go to a gym, but child molesters can get out of jail. This is how these people think. I'm just being honest. It's like, so on YouTube, they're like, we need to get rid of the guy who likes Trump. We need to rig so nobody can hear, theories about space. But then they totally ignore child molesters on their own website. And then they get, a big thing happens. Like, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, just stop doing this. So there's so many angles that they could get on YouTube and Facebook. I just don't know exactly what it is. One, they're private companies, but they could be operating as public utilities. It's debatable. It could be good, it could be bad. There's pros and cons to that type of regulation, but it's debatable. Also, they're rigging their algorithms, so they're prioritizing corporate media, destroying independent media, but with no rhyme or rhythm. They don't have a blueprint of what they're doing. They don't have rules. They just kind of do it, and then they don't even tell you why. And also, they're censoring people politically. If you look at the list of people who've been censored off of Twitter, off of Facebook, off of YouTube, it's mostly right-wing people. It's mostly right-leaning people, and it's not a specific rule. It's not like if you do this, you're going to get deleted. It's like, we're going to wait until we decide that we don't like what you said and we'll delete you. But they don't do the same thing for their own politics and their own people. They say they're against threats. They should be. Facebook, Twitter, you shouldn't be allowed to threaten people. They should take that seriously. But they allow that type of stuff. They allow death threats. They allow this. If it doesn't go the way that if it doesn't go, in their politics, they just leave it up. It's like they don't care about anything they claim to care about. So I pray and I hope that the Trump administration really does something about it, because him tweeting out Michelle Malkin and saying we're looking into it, I don't know what the DOJ is going to do. Antitrust, whether it's advertisements, whether it's search algorithms, there's so many things that they could look into and at least put them on Congress to really testify about it. And another thing that they're doing in Google too is not only are they rigging the algorithms in that sense, but when they program the algorithms, it used to be, sorry, I lost the train of thought. It used to be, all right, this is how we algorithm this, and then the best videos get to the top. So now it's all corporate news at the top, but also they have other things plugged into the algorithm for hate speech. But what they think is hate speech is like everything under the sun. And 95% of the keywords and the search terms that they put in are, they think is hateful to believe in like immigration. So Obama used to deport illegal immigrants. Chuck Schumer used to believe in illegal immigration. Every Democrat on the planet used to enforce the law of this country, because that's just what politicians are supposed to do. If you have a law, you're a lawmaker, so you make the law and then you enforce the law that you made. It's really simple stuff. But now that's hate speech. Saying this is hate speech. So they plug it into the algorithm and they sit back and say, no, we're not doing this. This is how it's programmed. We just let the app, but it's a biased algorithm to begin with. And then on top of that, they have AI scanning everybody, and then they have a bunch of people that they hire who are all politically left-leaning. If you're a conservative or a Republican or an independent libertarian, and you work at Google or you work at Facebook or you work at YouTube, which is owned by Google, it's a total echo chamber. You've had whistleblowers and people who used to work there. Guys, you got to read some of these newsletters they post out. I got friends who work for other corporations that are big, not YouTube and Google, but it's like insane the type of stuff that they do. It's such an echo chamber, and they keep moving further and further left, and you just can't say anything about it. I'm nice socially. I don't care what race you are, what religion you are, what gender you are. You want to flip-flop and, change. I don't care. Whatever. If I'm working at a business, just be a nice person, be respectful, do a good job, and that's it. It's all love. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. If you're good at your job, I'll like you. If you suck, I'll think you suck. I'm not going to make excuses. That's just the type of person I am. But they don't do that there. They prioritize social issues or social race, religion, gender identity, and all this stuff, political views, over the truth, over justice, over what's right and wrong, what's fair and what's not fair. And it's driving these companies absolutely insane, and it's starting to leak into everything else. One of the ones that really got me recently was London Real. They have a big YouTube channel, millions upon millions of views, millions of subscribers. They're facing deletion because they interviewed David Icke. This guy has interviewed everybody, Ice-T, rappers, everything. He interviews thousands of people. I mean, he interviewed David Icke, and now he's facing deletion, even though he's a public type of guy. And these hypocrites at not only YouTube, but say CNN. There's someone named Richard Spencer. He's a very controversial guy. He's alt-right. He started the alt-right. He's somebody who's actually alt-right. They call everyone alt-right. Richard Spencer is alt-right. He, in many ways, founded the alt-right. It's a fringe movement that's not super popular, but there's people who believe in it, who's like super white identitarian. You could look into Richard Spencer. I'm not going to sit here and act like the media and say a million things. Look into him, what he believes, whatever. He's like public enemy number one to left-wingers. They think everybody acts like him. CNN had Richard Spencer on their television station. They literally brought Richard Spencer on CNN to talk trash about Trump, because Richard Spencer doesn't like Trump because Trump's too liberal for him. So if I were to interview Richard Spencer, or I were to debate Richard Spencer, or I were to debate or interview Alex Jones or David Icke, whether I agreed with them or disagreed with them, I would face deletion. I would face banning. I would face censorship. But CNN's allowed to do it. CNN, Piers Morgan had Alex Jones on to debate about gun control. They're allowed to do it. They're allowed to agree with Richard Spencer, but you can't. They brought Richard Spencer on to make Trump look bad because Richard Spencer doesn't like Trump. But if I were to talk to him, you get what I'm saying? They'll delete me. So that's what they're doing on YouTube. We can interview people. We're the gods of journalism. You can't talk to them. You can't agree with them. You can't disagree with them. You can't debate them. You can't talk about it. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't do this. We'll delete your video. They're out of freaking control. So overall, I'm glad that Trump is tweeting that. It looks like he may actually do something, and the Department of Justice may. I'm not going to get my hopes up for sure, but I like that he's doing that. And the thing that spurred him talking about it was Michelle Malkin pressuring him, or at least putting pressure on it. And that speech was from an counterculture conservative event that Michelle Malkin spoke at. And all those people that Michelle Malkin, congregates with, the America First kids, they're being pressured by the left wing and the right wing. And before we get into questions and stuff, this is what I want people to realize, because if you think it's only the left wing, this is how we get played. Google, left wing. Facebook, left wing, mostly left wing. All the social media, yes, they're run by left wing. But when it comes to the big people who dominate conservative culture, Blaze TV, Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Dan Bongino, Dan Crenshaw, these type of people have a lot of power on the conservative media. And in many ways, rightfully so. They're smart, they're talented, they're good at speaking, they've amassed big audiences, and I don't want to take that away from them. But what people don't realize is they do a lot of censorship too, but no one, so they fight the left, and you're fighting the left with them. But Michelle Malkin, kids like Nick Fuentes and the America First kids who Michelle Malkin kind of stands up for, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Dan Crenshaw, and all these people massively attack them. They call them racist, they call them anti-Semites. They try to get them banned off Twitter and YouTube, and then after they get banned on Twitter and YouTube, they sit back and say, oh, we don't agree with censorship. But they do, though. They use the same words that get people censored. That's why I don't use those words. I disagree with some of those kids. I disagree with a lot of people. But when do you hear me say, he's racist, he's anti-Semitic, he's xenophobic? I don't say it unless I'm joking, because those are tools of censorship. It's a quick way to stop the discussion. If we're talking about race, unless somebody literally says, I hate that entire race of people, I want them all to get wiped off the planet, then I'm like, all right, that person's racist, obviously. But racist is overused not just by the left wing, but by the right wing. When it comes to different skin colors, there's a good podcast I listened to recently. You have to understand there is a difference in culture and ethnicity and melanin. It's just a fact. So if you're black, African, dark, there's a different amount of vitamin D that you might need. You might need different hair products. There might be an amount of sunlight and an amount of vitamins that makes more sense because of your melanin. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to know yourself and know your culture, because then you can act right and be healthier. But they act like we're all 100%. You can't say any different or it's racist. It's not true. Ask somebody from Africa how long they can sit out in the sun, and then ask somebody from Ireland how long they can sit out in the sun. There's a clear difference in melanin and a clear difference that has implications on the body. This is the type of stuff that they deprive us of because they always just want to act like everything's the same. We all bleed red blood, treat everybody with respect, treat everybody nicely, but a lot of times this, what do they call it? Like, what's the feminism thing where it's like all of us are in it together? It's like Muslim, feminist, this and that. And it's like, yeah, it's great. We're all in it together. But don't, understand the difference between cultures. Because if you're a feminist and you want to have hairy armpits and, put your boobs out in public, you're not going to fare well in Iran and Saudi Arabia, because that's just not the way those countries think. And that doesn't mean you can't love them. I love people from Saudi Arabia. I love people from Iran. But your ideology does not fit in Iran. Your ideology does not fit in Saudi Arabia. So the point I'm trying to get at is when left-wingers just say racist or xenophobic or anti-Semitic, it shuts down the conversation. It says, instead of saying, this is what you think, this is what, it's over. You're a bad person, I'm a better person than you, conversation over. That's why I don't use those terms. And same with, unless someone literally says, I hate all these people all the time, that's racism. But point I'm trying to get to is it's not just Google, YouTube, and Facebook. They're left-wing, they censor people, but as they're censoring people, if you're like Michelle Malkin, who is, just to be honest, she's an Asian woman married to a Jewish guy, And Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and Blaze TV, I could Google for you. They try to smear Michelle Malkin as anti-Semitic because she sticks up for these kids. Here, I'm going to read it. And it's not just left-wing blogs. It's right-wing media organizations trying to call anybody who challenges them an anti-Semite. And that's it. She literally is married to a Jewish guy. She's not anti-Semitic. She just believes in free speech. Anti-Semite, ready, Michelle Malkin. She got smeared this year. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Michelle Malkin shunned by conservatives. This is Jerusalem Post. Michelle Malkin shunned by conservatives over support for anti-Semites. So this is the way they treat you on the right wing, too. This is why people need to wake up to the duality. Yes, social media is owned by left-wingers. Yes, they're very hypocritical. Yes, they censor people. But if you challenge them on immigration, you challenge them on demographics, you challenge them on free speech, you agree with somebody. I don't agree with Donald Trump on everything, but if I say something that he says, I don't agree with everything that he says. If Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez disagrees with me 50 times, and there's one tweet that she says, that I agree with, I adopt her whole worldview. I just think that one thing that she said is right. Bill Mayer, can't stand the guy. Really annoying, really fake to me. But every 2 weeks, you get what I'm saying? Every 2 weeks, Bill Mayer says something super real, and I'll share it. I don't have to like Bill Mayer or agree with everything he says. I like that particular quote. That's my American right. So Michelle Malkin does that with the America First kids. She agrees with them on a lot of stuff, and she doesn't care about censorship, so she'll go and talk in an event. And then you have the Charlie Kirks, the Ben Shapiros, the Blaze TV, all these big conservative outlets who claim that they're for free speech. They call her an anti-Semite. They suggest that anybody who identifies with these people are racist, and it's just not true. You get what I'm saying? It's like this is why the right wing fails a lot of times, is because they're always, I don't want to make the right mad, or that you can't. It's like, just stop, guys. I'm so not politically correct. It's not even funny. Like, I like comedy. Everyone should like comedy, but what makes comedy funny? I like watching a Hispanic guy make fun of white people and make fun of black people and make fun of Hispanics and make fun of gay people and make fun of straight people, and it's funny. And then I like watching a black comedian make fun of white people. Oh my God, it's racist. It's funny, or it's not funny, and he's not a funny comedian. It's really that simple. Same with, you can't say that about Jewish people. But it's like, no, just be funny, or be honest, or don't be honest. And if you disagree with them, disagree with them. But calling everything racist and anti-Semitic is not just a left-wing thing. They do it on the mainstream right, and they censor you, and they smear you and blacklist you, and then they get in front of a big audience and say, we're fighting Google. No, you're not. You're lobbing everybody up. You get what I'm saying? So you gotta realize that stuff too. Someone said they also kicked Owen Schroyer out of CPAC. Yeah, this is how they act, and this is the crazy part. It's the hypocrisy from Google and Facebook that makes it bad. It's not their political views if they just were fair. It's the hypocrisy. Same with the right wing. You know who they let into CPAC? Guys, they let in some of the most unlikable, undesirable left-wing journalists who all they do 24/7 is write dishonest smear articles about every right-winger. Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, this person, that, they let them into CPAC, a conservative event, and then they ban Owen Schroyer, or they won't let Nick Fuentes in. So this is the type of conservatives that mislead you all the time. It's like, you could be the furthest left-wing, Antifa-supporting journalist, and they'll let you into virtue signal. We believe in free speech, so we'll let the left-wingers in. You should let everybody in, but then they censor their own because they don't want to seem like they're, and you listen to people on the left wing and on the right wing. I don't agree with everyone, but to be honest, the extreme right wing people, they have some things that they're going to say that you'll never hear Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro say. Some of them are wrong, some of them are right, and that's what political correctness does. If you have a soft Republican who doesn't want to go into the deep issues, they're never going to touch certain things. You're going to have to listen to one of the crazy people go further, even whether you disagree or agree, but you're like, I didn't think of that. One of those things that Kirk and Shapiro don't want to talk about is demographics. And it's just, you could look into statistics and how people vote. You don't have to hate people, but if you look at women and how women vote, they vote majority blue. Overall, not all women, but you get what I'm saying? If you look at the white conservative majority, they'll vote red. You look at Hispanics, they vote blue, but a little more. You look at, so they do this on liberal websites. That's what they do. They break down demographics. They say if Hispanics vote Republican, they'll smear the Hispanics in Politico and say the white Hispanics voted Republican. So everyone is allowed to look at demographics. The FBI does it. Everyone does it. But if you're right-wing and you look at demographics, they smear you as a racist. They're like, you can't say that that's going to happen. If Texas, changes its demographics, it's going to vote blue. But Julian Castro, New York Times says it, Politico, it's in all the mainstream publications. They're like bragging about it in the LA Times. They're saying California is never going red again because we flipped the demographics and, this is how people vote. So I find it just hypocritical. I don't care when LA Times says it, but it's the right-wing gatekeepers that stop right-wingers from saying it. And then they just play these games of identity politics. They say, I am so not racist. Look, I have a black, gay Republican on the stage. And it's like, I don't care who's who. But, the virtue signaling from the right wing gets annoying. They're like, oh, we get it. You're so not racist. You have black, gay people. And he's like, I'm black, I'm gay, I'm a Republican. Everyone's like, that's identity politics too. And that's why you never break out of that cycle. Because they only allow certain identity politics. On the left wing, you're only allowed to do black identity politics, Hispanic identity politics. On the right wing, it's the same thing. They play the left wing games and they try to destroy anybody who breaks the mold, and it's not right. So that's what we're doing, and the reason I talked about that is because that's what Michelle Malkin does. And more Republicans and conservatives would be wise, I think, to act more like her rather than the complacent or the sneaky gatekeeper type Republicans, because those type of people are really just, my opinion, they'll do whatever. They'll blow with the wind, whatever, and that's fine. It's good to learn and change your mind, but I have a lot of respect personally for the Michelle Malkin types. Someone say your video right now is being interrupted. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys. Sorry. For most people, it's working. For some, it's not. But I think there's something to be said about somebody who stands up for what they believe in and has no problem kind of going against Republicans as well, because that's what's going to, I think, really change the culture. And on that note, too, I want to read something else as well, because I know there's a lot of people. Let me see. I got to find the Trump tweet. Someone said, love that you don't box yourself in or label aside. Yeah. Someone said labels cause division. I think so. I think they cause division, censorship, but also my thing is this. If you want to label yourself as something, whatever. But it's the hypocrisy where it's like, you can do this, you can do this, you can't do it or it's racist. If you do it, it's sexist, but we can do it and it's not sexist. Either everybody has to do it or no people can do it. That's freedom to me. So I'm consistent with that, where it's like, I'm not, do you see me running around being like, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a man's group, I'm the men's group. It's like, that's not how I operate. However, if women do it, men should do it too. If black and Hispanic should do it, why can't white people do it? If people are Jewish and do it, can people be Polish and do it? To me, I just don't care. But Republicans are like, you can't do that. I'm like, just guys, it's all so corny. I'm so tired of it. It's like, it doesn't make any sense, and people spend too much energy, I think, on it. Just like trying to micromanage how people operate. And you could look into the history of this type of stuff too, like Waco and Ruby Ridge. If you look into the history of it, they admit publicly that, militias were organizing and they didn't like that. So, that was a problem. They don't want people to organize, and they certainly don't want Americans to be united in many ways. So I think there's more to it than just racist, sexist, xenophobic, anti-Semitic. I think that's just what they say to divide, distract, and keep people down in a way, but, to each their own. I'm trying to find this Trump retweet real quick to read it to you. I'm about to find it in a second. He retweeted, here it is. Here it is, okay. So this is something Trump tweeted, and I think there's a lot to learn about this too. Sean Davis, I'm not sure who that is, but shout out Sean Davis. He said, Mitch McConnell has spent years pretending as though the Russia collusion hoax never happened. If he thinks he's going to keep the Senate majority and confirm more judges without addressing the hoax and holding the hoaxers accountable, he's lost his mind. And Trump retweeted that, and he said, Mitch, I love you, but this is 100% true. Time is running out. Get tough and move quickly, or it'll be too late. The Dems are vicious but got caught. They must pay a big price for what they've done to our country. Don't let them get away with this. And he tagged Lindsey Graham in it. So I think this is important for people to understand too, because there's a big movement online, and to each their own. I don't like to smear. I like to joke, but everybody can do what they want. I'm into freedom. But there's a big movement online that's convincing millions of conservatives and libertarians that Trump has this all figured out. Thousands or hundreds of people are going to be arrested. It's all been written. They're all waiting. But if you listen to Trump, you can see the truth. The truth is Trump is not even positive they're going to hold Obama-gators accountable. Trump is pleading to Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell to do something. So you have to understand these people that tell you they're 100% sure because they read a message board, they act like they have secret intel from the President of the United States. Thousands of people are going to be arrested, but the President of the United States himself, which their whole movement relies on, will tell you publicly he's not even sure that the Obama-gators are going to be held accountable. He wants it to happen like I want it to happen, like you want it to happen, like they want it to happen. But Trump doesn't have this all figured out. He's not, from the future. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe time machines exist. I don't think so, but that's what people are saying. But it's like he's not Batman who has control over everything. He's looking for help. He's like, yo, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, are you going to do something or not? He's trying to use his power and his influence to get Republicans to do something. And you should use your power and our influence to get Trump and Republicans to do stuff as well. If 10 million Trump supporters say everything Trump does is perfect, he's got it figured out, trust the plan, it's done. And then Trump's like, I don't think it's going to happen. Please make it happen. We should be demanding this to our lawmakers, to our senators, to the House, to the Congress, to Trump, to the administration. We shouldn't be complacent. It doesn't help to just say Trump's got it all figured out and anybody who criticizes him is a secret agent. No, you're not getting reelected unless you stand up for free speech, unless you stop communism and tyranny. We need this to happen. We demand justice to happen. We want freedom on social media. We want bad people to be held accountable. That's what changes the world. That's what makes it happen, is active activism, not like, hey, everything the Democrats do is great. It doesn't work that way. And all you have to do is look at Trump. There's millions of people who think Trump has it all figured out and thousands of Obama-gators are going to be arrested, while Trump himself publicly is saying, you have to do this because it's not written yet. In a God sense, you could say, yeah, certain things might happen over time, but overall, on a political sense, this is all unfolding still. The Republican Party is not 100% perfect. Honestly, they're not even close. So you get what I'm saying? It's like people are like, the federal government's going to save our lives and arrest thousands of people. Meanwhile, Trump is like telling you to the federal government, he's like, guys, you better do something or we're not going to win the election. And that needs to be the vibe. It can't just be so easy. When Democrats and when the black community who votes Democrat, when they don't demand anything, they don't get anything. That's why I at least respect Diddy, where he's like, our vote's not free. Candace Owens says that as well. Kanye West. Regardless of the politics, I respect somebody, if you're going to organize, just to say, hey, that's why I like the America First kids, because they put their feet in, they say, this is what we want. I want it. Diddy does that. Kanye does that. Candace does that. I don't care who you represent. That's how you get something done. You don't get something done by being like, Trump is going to save us from the future and everything's... No, that's nothing. That's how you get played. That's how you get lied to. That's how you get tyranny from both parties. Trump understands it. I understand it. It's time for people to understand it. And it's all love. Do the research. Wait from the light. But this idea of being complacent and just cheerleading is the way to make things happen. It's the opposite of the truth. And even Trump does it. Trump loves a good business deal. So he's signaling to the country, you have to do this, Lindsey Graham. You have to do this, Mitch McConnell. If you don't do it, you're going to lose the people. And it's true. And Trump's right. Just like Michelle Malkin's right when she says, hey, I like Trump, but you're not building the wall fast enough. You're not good on immigration. You're greenlighting H-1B visas. You're letting Kushner run the country. And you're not good on free speech. Michelle Malkin bashes the Trump administration every day. Righteously, not in a mean way. She's like, listen, you guys are not... And he said, what did he say to her? Did he say, shut up, Michelle Malkin? Did he say, Michelle Malkin, you're a secret agent? Did he say you're a liberal? No, he said, thank you, Michelle, thank you. Because if Trump is a good guy, like everybody thinks he is, he likes people who stand up for the truth. He likes his who do the right thing. Brooke said it's absolutely a team effort. And I'm telling you, our job is not to be sideline cheerleaders of a corrupt administration or a corrupt situation. So his campaign manager follows me. People ask if his administration follows me. I don't know what they watch or they don't watch. But my job, I don't feel like my job is to pat them on the back. My job is to say, I don't like this shutdown. I don't like this phase plan. I'm not a big fan of Fauci. And to be quite honest, it's a little concerning that Trump is collaborating with big pharma ex-execs to rush a vaccine through safety trials. That's concerning to me. And I say that stuff. He didn't unfollow me. He can. But I think he listens. And I think they want to win an election. So if they know 20 million Trump supporters will support me no matter what, it's true. And I understand why. Why would anyone vote for Joe Biden? It's like Trump should win this election by the landslide. It should be a red wave. I hope it is. However, that doesn't mean I'm going to just sit here and say that this is good. If it's too easy, we don't have any leverage in the business deal. That is, we the people and the government. Our business needs to be like Michelle Malkin, me, people who say, listen, I'm going to support you. I'm going to keep it real. However, don't agree with the H-1B visa situation. Don't agree with a lot of the foreign policy stuff, the free speech stuff, and that's how I feel. So that's the way to hold your ground. And I love that Trump said, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for disagreeing with me. Thank you for holding your ground. He loves it. I love it. We have to love it. And that's all I want people to do. Do the research. Go deeper. Don't be another surface level conservative. Go deep. Search for the truth. Read the message board. Read the YouTube. Use discernment. Use critical thinking. Agree, disagree, find your niche. But just don't be another cheerleader and don't be another excuse maker where it's like, I disagree with Big Pharma. Trump works with Big Pharma. Not working with Big Pharma to work with Big Pharma. It's like, it's so funny to me. It's like Trump said what he didn't say because he said it in the future, and then he didn't say it because he wants to lie to you, but I know he's telling the truth, but Ellen doesn't know it. It's like, guys, just doing that. Just do the research, but hold your ground, because that's what Trump is doing. He's holding his ground. He doesn't have it all figured out. He doesn't have the power to do everything. He's looking for other Republicans to do stuff, and the only way to get that done, rally behind him when he's right, hold him accountable when he's wrong, and look at the Mitch McConnells and the Lindsey Grahams and these type of people and say, listen, if you got to, pull one of these, say, listen, Lindsey, thank you for being good on the Kavanaugh stuff, but, I don't like how weak you are in Iran and Syria or whatever. You're always trying to start a war. Listen, Lindsey, you talk a big game, but where are the indictments, bro? Listen, Gowdy, everybody likes you, but, maybe it's time to hold people accountable, Mitch. Why are you always making deals with Nancy, Mitch? Stuff like that, it's okay. I think that just do it in a nice way. So I said, I have to watch this later because there's interruption. Well, I'm sorry that there's interruption. I'm not sure what's going on. I need to turn on my 50G internet. Someone said, talk about 50. I got 50,000 G. There's so many Gs. I feel it's like I'm staying next to a. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I got to get better internet or something. I don't know. Kelly said, thank you for being authentic. That's all we can do. We have to make America free again. Make America, I don't know, something like that. Someone said they will replace Biden. It's WWE, guys. You notice I never talk about Biden. I'll laugh at a good Biden. I mean, we could listen to some Biden quotes and stuff and laugh at it, but there's no reason. It's WWE. Like, why conservatives spend all day talking about Joe Biden? It's a joke. It's a joke. All you should do is laugh, okay? Because talking about him all the time, share some weird videos, but it's like, what is this, guys? What is this, like, what does this mean to you?
That turned blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I love kids jumping on my lap.
Like, what is that? That's like a weird, creepy version of WWE. It's creepy. Someone said a lot of skips. Yeah, I don't know. Someone said it does it on everyone's live. We're okay, guys. Don't worry. Someone said, no, I'm just going to be honest. Listen, I'm sure Lindsey Graham's a nice guy. I'm sure he's, a fun time or whatever. But, like, and I've known this for years. Just look at how he operates. He was good in the Kavanaugh situation. He's always disagreeing with Trump. They call these people neocons or neoconservatives. They're always trying to start a war. They're always sneaking around. It's like the George Bush, Mitt Romney types. Lindsey Graham is one of those types. He might be a little better than Mitt Romney, but not by much. He's one of those guys. You get what I'm saying? He's going to do Republican things like 2 times out of 10 times. And that's not enough, Someone So it's, yeah, it's the roaches and it's like, bro, what? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to read this real quick. How does anyone understand what you're thinking? You're all over the place, just horrible. I don't even know what you're talking about, Karina. We have a wonderful time here, and millions of people know what I'm talking about, but I don't know. What? It's funny. I mean, I could sit here, I could wear a suit. I could wear a suit and be like, breaking news, fear, you should be scared. Greta Thunberg, scared. Millions of people, plague. And then maybe you'd understand. But here, I put on cowboy hats and I say, listen, this is the revolution. And we have a good time. And some people like it, some people don't. But that's what we do here. All right. Tracy said, what's up, Tracy? Thanks for being here. God bless you. Tracy said, I live in Florida and am currently in Boston for a couple weeks. The folks up here tripping make me glad I live in the South. Yeah, it's weird. I'm surprised they brought you there for work. It's creepy. Where's my mask? I don't know. Someone said Lindsey Graham is a war hawk. Yeah, for sure. Him, Bolton, neocon type stuff. They're all the same. That's why listen, I've been critical on Trump the last few weeks because I don't like what he's doing at all. But I've given him credit in the past. In Syria, he finessed the situation. He was like, listen, you go here, I'm going to go here. I'm going to take the oil. I was like, shit, he's the only guy. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but he doesn't even lie to you about that. He's like, I'm taking the oil. Bush and stuff will be like, oh, we're going to save Iraqis. It's like, no, we know what you're doing, dude. Trump will just say it. He's like, I'm stealing the oil. I don't agree with it, but I'm just like, at least he told us the truth about it. And then he's like, but he did just enough to like Lindsey Graham, Bolton, Hillary. They all wanted him to go further, but he freed Syria. To be honest, I think Trump helped free Syria by not being so crazy. And I think the Syrian people appreciate it to some extent. They kind of are annoyed by him because he's still like an American. But overall, I've given him credit. He's done the impossible. He's done a lot. But, you know, we got to get some of these swampies. Someone said this isn't a cowboy hat, it's a sombrero. It's all I got. I bought this for a skit. I don't really wear this. I bought this for a skit. I was like playing two characters and I wanted like a funny, goofy looking hat. Look how cheap it is. I bought it at like Marshall's or something. It's a cheap hat. It was like $5. And it shows. It's falling apart. Yeah, no, I know I don't have a cowboy hat, so I just have to pretend, guys. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it all, okay? We got what we got. I don't have any other props over here. All right. Someone said it's called stream of consciousness, that how unscripted videos work. Yeah, there is no script. Even with the videos that I put out that are short and like get millions of views, I don't even have a script there. I read everything. I have all my images, like I have 20 images and I just go off and I'm just like bang, bang, bang. I don't have a script. I don't need a script, okay? They get a script, they write the script and they're all like, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. They're like, and then they all read it and then you watch it and they're all just like, they're like, breaking news, there is correct. It's like, it's all the same thing. They all read the same script. I don't have a script. I have a sun hat, okay? If you want a script, there's 100 channels for you. If you want a sun hat that's tinted with a little pink and a little blue, a little Easter vibe, then you come here. If you have a problem with the, I don't understand this guy. I mean, he keeps talking about the sun hat and, you know, it's got Easter colors. He doesn't make sense. Then it's not for you. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Alejandro. Someone said, you never know what Trump is thinking. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Mommy Malkin's on it. Mommy Malkin's on the job. She's like, listen, she be talking big game. She's a big girl. She stands on a box cart and just starts yelling at people. I like Michelle. I like Mommy Malkin. So with that, do you think George Washington, the father, will be proud of the big corporations that interfere in people's freedom? No, George Washington would be disgusted. But he also might be like fascinated with drones or something. So I could see Ben Franklin just flying a drone or something. I don't know. Someone said, I heard something about that blocking out the sun. Yeah, just look into it. Bill Gates and Harvard are trying to block out the sun to stop climate change. So that's a real thing. You could look into it. Do I think the next stimulus bill will pass through the Senate? Yeah, I think they'll pass it. It'll pass through the Senate. Hopefully they take out the sneaky like voting things. They got to make sure that's out, but for sure. There's very few conservatives that actually believe in not spending trillions of dollars. Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, the rest of them just don't care. They're like, guys, I'm going to lower the deficit. And then they just pass like $10 trillion spending bills. They're like, oh, oops, we did the opposite. It's okay. Someone said, talk about the stimulus plan. I don't know if it's a good thing to pour out more money. Oh, no, it's terrible. It's a horrible thing. But when you shut down the government for 3 months, you either put people into poverty or you print out monopoly money. So they're printing out monopoly money. They should have opened the country probably a month ago, but no one is talking about it. I guess some people are, but I don't know. Yeah, you can't leave people poor, but also you can't close down businesses. So they should have just opened up and let people work, but they didn't do that. So now they're printing monopoly money. I don't really have a big stance on it. I mean, it's just a big joke at this point. I'm just trying to live by the beach, to be quite honest. Trying to figure out what beach to go to. Where can I go by a beach and just get away from people? Some people could be there, but not everybody. And then, I'll make my videos and hopefully a beach I could go to, because you got these swamp creatures. They're like, you can't go to the beach. You can't play volleyball with 3 people. And they're just like, they're just disgusting. I'm like, why? Who do you think you are? Whatever. Trent said, I wish the political game was more the way you think. You got your winners and losers, but overall, we can shift the culture. We can change the game. We got it. It's a good day. We're on it. We're going to get there. Chad said, speak your mind, bro. That's it, Chad. God bless you. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate you. Don't sweat the naysayers. No, I just like to make jokes. It's okay. I don't care. I really don't. Someone said, I'm handing over my get out of jail free card. Okay, you got one of those. Someone said, why did they censor your video from yesterday? No, they didn't censor it. I deleted it. So what I'm doing is with the regular videos, and I'll tell you why. I'll explain it. I've already, but not everybody sees everything, so I'll do it again. So with the other videos, I leave all my regular videos up because I take time, I have proof, and I make it so they can't censor it. They still might, but you know what I'm saying? I have all my bases covered. With the live streams, it's a little more fun. It's a little more loose. So what I do is if I feel really good about it, I'll just leave it up. Like this one, it might stay up. But if not, this one's definitely going to go to, I'm going to put this one on YouTube for sure. This one's getting out. I just have a filter where I'm like, either I leave it up, I delete it off Facebook and put it onto YouTube, or I just delete it and don't put it onto YouTube. I just go with how I feel. Sometimes I want it to stay, sometimes I don't. And it's based off a lot of things, the energy, how it went, what I said. But it is what it is. I just kind of go with how I feel. So I'll let you know when I'm censored. YouTube deletes my videos. They actually do censor me. But I don't get paid that much on YouTube, and I strongly dislike YouTube, so I don't really care. Facebook, however, I'm doing very well on, so I don't want them to mess with me on Facebook, so I take more precaution of what I post. Twitter, I legitimately don't care at all. If they ban me on Twitter tomorrow, I'm not sure that I would even remotely care. I hope they don't, but Twitter, I'm way more loose. YouTube, kind of loose. Facebook, I'm more strict because I'm trying to, I don't know. It's same with Instagram. I post differently on everything. It's not just because of the censorship. Instagram's not Facebook. You don't want to post like bathing suit pictures on Facebook every day. It's like a little weird. I mean, you can, but you get what I'm saying? I just treat everyone differently. I just go with how I feel. So it's not, I'll let you know when they censor me. I promise you. I won't shut up about it. Someone said learning their game. No, I see it. And I see it with like certain groups and, certain terms. And I see what they're doing. So I just try to stay a step ahead. All right, Chuck's pumped up. Let's go, Chuck. He said, we the people are the change. Come together. Life's a game. Game on. Let's go, Chuck. That's the energy we got today. Come on. I like that. Woo. Thank you, Chuck. You got me amped up. I'm drinking water. I'm like a plant. You give me water, I feel better. I grow. Someone said they pay you? Yeah, me. Listen. I'm not justifying everything that Facebook does, but me and Facebook are cool. Facebook has been good to me they should be good to me. I'm one of the biggest pages on here. Not in follows, but in engagement. We're doing Garth Brooks numbers, guys. That's why I put the sun hat on. We're doing Trump numbers, Garth Brooks numbers. It's phenomenal. I feel the energy that Chuck just gave me. You feel what I'm saying? It's not a brag. It's inspirational. I don't have a manager. I don't have a label. I don't work for corporate news. I don't take donor money who tells me what to support foreign and domestic. I did this all by myself. I had some people in my life that were great. I'm not trying to be selfish about it, but this is me. This is my cell phone. It's my laptop. It's all editing. We did this. We the people. You know, no big corporate. So they should be nice to me because I built this and we built this and we're one of the biggest pages in the world, probably the biggest page in the world that doesn't have any help at all. You know, there's very few people that do it independently. So they should be nice, but we got the star program. We got the fan subscription. Sorry guys, I've been slacking. I'll post something today, ask some questions, talk to my supporters only, and then we'll do a private live stream for supporters because I want to make sure they get their benefits and stuff. But overall, you feel what I'm saying? They're good to me here on Facebook. They get a little, they get a little weird sometimes, but overall, they see what time it is until they don't see what time it is. But I'm not doing anything, and I think they know that. Someone at Facebook knows it. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I will say this too. Hillary, all these type of people, they don't like Facebook, which makes me feel like Zuckerberg, he has his censorship and stuff. He does his weird stuff. It's obvious, but I think I think Facebook is more open than Twitter and YouTube, and they hate it. And I'll tell you why. It's not even just because I'm slightly biased because Facebook's better to me. On Twitter, well, let's start with YouTube. On YouTube, the whole thing's rigged. On Facebook, they used to have remember the side section where it was like top news and it was all rigged news? They got rid of that, and then they gave a bunch of money to local news sites, which isn't great, but to be honest, local news is better than CNN and MSNBC. So they got really ticked off at Facebook because Facebook realizes who makes the money on Facebook. It's not Democrats. It's the biggest pages: Trump, Bolsonaro, the nationalist guy from India, me, Shapiro, Daily Wire. Like, we're doing bigger numbers than a lot of Democrats, and I think Zuckerberg realizes that, so he's not trying to clean house. YouTube is just trying to clean house. They're like, screw everybody who disagrees with me. Facebook is sneaky. They have their bias. They work with the World Health Organization, whatever. But I think they realize on a business level, we can't just delete 50% of the people who work here. And they still do sneaky stuff, but overall, hopefully, someone says Soros is pissed at Zuckerberg, he wants to buy Facebook. That's what I'm saying. They all don't like Facebook. I'm not saying that Facebook is perfect. Obviously, they're not. They have a lot of, but like, it is interesting that a lot of those people really don't like Facebook. So, someone says it's freezing. Someone says anomaly, Trump, Soros, and Kushner are in this together for. Here's the thing, though. I get what you're saying. Like, we talk about Zionism and that type of influence and stuff here. But I really don't think, I mean, there is some sneakery on both sides, but I don't think George Soros is really a Zionist, to be honest. I think he doesn't care about Israel at all. I could be wrong, though, but I think it's like two sides of a coin that, like, either way, there's going to be some things that you don't like or agree with, and there's going to be censorship. But I really think, George Soros, I'm not sure that he really cares about Israel. I think he doesn't care about Israel at all, but I don't know. You could look it up. Thank you, Stormy. I appreciate it. God bless you. Clint says, I'm riding the wave. You're pragmatic. That's right. Thank you, Clint. It's only, and this is the thing. It's only a wave because everybody's on it. If it was just me by myself, there's no wave. It's just me. There's no ocean. I'm sitting in a drain with no water. You get what I'm saying? So it's a wave because people are here. So something's working. Something's resonating, So I appreciate you guys because as much as I complain about people who don't get it, clearly a lot of people do get it. So, it's just, we go through moods. But overall, there's something to be said that so many people support. Someone said they're censoring Judy Mikovits's Wikipedia page. Here's the thing about Wikipedia. There's definitely a slight bias to Wikipedia. So anybody left-wing, and this is just real, anybody left-wing, they're like, this person's a philanthropist. It's always a philanthropist. This person's a philanthropist, activist, and then the same type of person on the right wing, it's like, on the right wing, it's like, this person's an alt-right, supremacist, racist. So they have the bias of like anyone left wing is just all of a sudden a philanthropist and an activist. anybody right-wing is like, gets smeared. So that's just how Wikipedia works. It's not just Judy Mikovits, but someone said we need an anomaly in Netherlands. I'm trying to think. What's the guy? I like soccer or football, as you guys call it. What's the big football player from Netherlands? He's not me, but I'm just saying. Maybe he could start a YouTube channel or something. What's his name? What's the striker from the Netherlands? I gotta look it up, or you could tell me. Melinda, I talk about this sometimes. Someone said, anomaly, do you get data or look at QAnon? No. I mean, I look at it, I've seen it, but we talked about it earlier. Here's the thing that I don't like about it, is it makes people think that Trump is Batman and he's going to arrest thousands of people. And Trump is on his own Twitter telling you it's not happening yet. He wants it to happen, but it needs Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham. It's a constant battle. So you can't read this stuff and just become complacent and be like, the federal government's going to save my whole life and arrest thousands of people. Guys, it's going to take people who stand up, like Michelle Malkin, myself, Tucker Carlson. It's not, the future is not won by cheerleaders. So if it inspires you to do deep research and look into real stuff, that's fine. If it inspires you to scream at anybody who doesn't read the message board because you think Trump's going to arrest thousands of people, then it gets a little weird. So you get what I'm saying? I'm not really a fan, because it's turned a bunch of libertarians and conservatives into like people who are justifying this shutdown because they think Trump's going to do something about it, when he's actively working with big pharma executives, employing Tony Fauci. I mean, all the evidence shows that. So those people kind of weird me out. Not all of them. Some people follow it and they act totally normal, and that's fine. I got thousands of people like that. Some people go insane and start bugging out if you if you question Trump. They're like, you're a secret agent. No, Michelle Malkin questions Trump for 20 years. Thank you, Michelle. He likes to be questioned. Yeah, Van Nistelrooy, that's it. Yeah, Van Nistelrooy, that's my man. It depends how you filter it. So I have no problem with people who filter it and act normal, but overall, no, it's not my thing. I do my own research. I don't listen to Trump or Fox News or breadcrumbs. No one tells me what to do. I do my own research. So to each their own, though. Yeah, I mean, you guys, whoever you watch this stuff, there's good information everywhere. It's like, just don't let anyone convince you that like cheering on communism is a good idea. That's all I ask for. And honestly, I think a lot of it's valid, the points and the data and the research, but I think a lot of it is, it's somebody like a Dan Bongino who just will never question Trump ever, which is fine. Dan does phenomenal work on Obamagate, but to me personally, I like people like Michelle Malkin and Tucker Carlson more, because they hold their ground. They don't just follow Trump into the wilderness and say, whatever he does, I'm okay with it. It's fine if you do that. There's people who do that. I just like people who say, I believe in free speech. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe in the Fourth Amendment. I see Republicans aren't standing up. I don't like communism. I don't like tyranny. I don't like the phase plan. I don't like Trump colluding with big pharma executives. That's what I like people like that better. I don't like people who say, he's doing it because he's not doing it for this or that. It's like, to me, that's just annoying. But to each their own. Everybody, do what you got. I got people who, some people make a documentary. The people who made the documentary, I think it was awesome. They let it inspire them to do something positive, and that's beautiful. It's all, you get what I'm saying? It's all how you interpret it and how you act. So if you act, yeah, Tucker crushes. Those are the people I like, though. Everybody's got a preference. But that's how I feel. I'm hoping we get another, Tommy said, I'm hoping we get another stimulus check. I'm running out of pot. That's hilarious. It's messed up, though. Now, I'm not saying you personally, but a lot of people are getting stimulus checks. They're getting more money than working, so they're screwing over small businesses because people don't want to go back to work because they're making more money on unemployment. This is like mass communism, socialism. This is like Bernie Sanders times 10. Someone said, I have no idea how I stumbled on Anomaly, but I enjoy what he says. Thank you, Mikey. How do small people get the message to the powers that be? That's a good question. I think just keeping it real. There's power when millions of people stand up. So have a good day, enjoy yourself. But there's all sorts of ways that you could be effective, I don't know. Well, it's the same with me. I mean, I might have slightly more of an influence, but what I say only matters if enough people vote a certain way or feel a certain way and stand up for themselves. So it's strength in numbers. I don't have that much power either, but if enough people get to a certain point, and it's getting there, it gets loose, but overall, we harness that energy in the right direction. I think it could do a lot. Let me see. So I said, I mean, Donald Trump might be pandering to them, might not be including. I don't know. We'll see. Someone said Trump is playing chess, not checkers. He's doing what he can do in some ways, and in some ways he's probably not. Some ways he probably agrees with you, some ways he disagrees. But overall, I guess this is what I always say, is Trump is playing whatever game he's playing, and he's the president. And it is what it is, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. My job is not to be a cheerleader for corruption, for tyranny, for communism, for fascism, for anti-First Amendment bills, whether they come from the left or right, bad decisions, whether they come from Republicans or Democrats. So that's how I feel my job is, and I think that's every American citizen's job. So he's going to play chess. He's going to play his game, but I think our game is not to just make excuses for things that aren't right. Our job is to stand firm for what is right, the Constitution, freedom, and if enough people stand it firm, it won't happen. That's how I feel. So it's not me just radically bashing Trump like he's going to save the world. It's me trying to wake people up that think Trump's going to save the world, and they think the way Trump's going to save the world is by them doing nothing and just cheering him on. And that's just not how things work. That's not, it's simple. Trump's a deal maker and a businessman. In a business meeting, it's all about leverage. You get what I'm saying? So in general, in this world, money, power, that's the whole power structure. But it's true. But as people, we run this country. The farmers, the truckers, that's the essential workers. They are essential because without them, it's nothing. I say essential in quotes because it's just asinine, in my opinion, to tell some people you're not essential, but you are. But that's our power. So we need to use our leverage as we the people to hold people accountable. And if you do that, if you harness the power to do that, it's good. Like any business deal, you can't go into it. And I'm not the best because I don't do that much business, but I have 10, 11 years of managing myself as a hip hop artist. I've gotten flown to New York City. I've had meetings with big labels, middle labels, this, that. I've done my own paperwork. So I've taught myself how to do business because no one was managing me, or I didn't have an agent for 10 years. But I learned a lot of stuff about leverage. You want, if you go into a meeting and just say, I'm your biggest fan, I want to get signed to Sony, you guys are going to make me, you're going to get a bad deal. If you have 100 million views, you already have songs with millions of views, and you use that and say, listen, I like you, I trust you, but I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? I could walk out, go to that label. I could work by myself. I'm already getting paid. I don't need your money. That's when you get better deals. The Chance the Rappers, the Post Malones, they got good deals because they built an audience before they signed a deal. So it's the same thing with business, and it's the same thing with Trump. Your job in a Trump transaction is not to just say, you have all the power, I have no power, save me and arrest thousands of people. It's not going to work that way. You got to be like, listen, I like you, I trust you. However, I want the First Amendment. I want the Second Amendment. Me and the people of this country run the country. So if you don't give us freedom, if you don't give us our amendments, if you start selling it out, you're not going to last very long. We don't want to vote for that. We don't want to support that. It's going to, deteriorate the movement. And that's the same thing that Trump does to Mitch McConnell. He's doing what I'm telling you with Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. He's telling them, guys, if you don't hold Obamagate accountable, people are not going to vote for you. You're not going to win the election. You're not going to have power. Nancy Pelosi's going to win the election. So Trump's doing what I'm doing to them because that's smart business. And he's 100 times better at business than I am because he's been a multi-billionaire in New York City doing business with people for 5 decades. He's one of the better deal makers in the world. So that's how you do business. And that's our job as citizens, as voters. We can't be complacent. We can't just let them run the show and say, trust what they're doing. Guys, don't trust the federal government to solve your problems. Trust yourself, trust God, and use the power that you have on a smaller, big scale to be at least one person standing firm. So you get what I'm saying? He is playing chess, but we need to play chess as well. And our way of playing chess can't be making excuses for communism, can't be making excuses for tyranny, can't be making excuses for things. If Obama or Biden did it, we'd be freaking out. But if Trump does it, we say, trust him, anomaly, you don't understand. I read this, guys. It's like, guys, it doesn't matter who you read, whether it's Trump, Trump's, secret agent to the side, Dan Bongino, me, none of this matters. The truth matters. Reality matters. And the reality is you need to be a part of it. And that's a beautiful thing. So that's how we use our business leverage. And it's a good, in any deal, this could help you in other parts of life if they ever open the country back up. You can't be in a business meeting and be like, I'm your biggest fan. I love you. Please you're going to get walked all over. You have to be nice and respectful. But honestly, you have to be like, that's how I go into, like, I like people, but I'm not a pushover. In a business meeting, like, even at this point, I'll give you an example. I had a meeting because I do social media stuff for myself. I will still work a job if they give me freedom and pay me and I like what they're doing. I would love to be a, social media marketer for a bigger company if they let me do my own thing too. I like to do a lot of things. I like to play soccer, basketball. I'm a go-getter. But I had a meeting with a big dentist, one of the biggest dentists in Los Angeles. This was like half a year ago. And I sat in the meeting and he was trying to pay me breadcrumbs compared to what I'm even making on Facebook and YouTube. He's like, and I told him, listen, man, I would love to work here. I would love to be a part of this, but that's not going to work. And he's like, no, it's going to work. And I'm like, no, it's literally not. Because I'm like, I can't just go in there and say, yeah, I'll do the job. Thank you so much. And then you get screwed. Then you make breadcrumbs and they don't pay you. I was like, listen, I'm literally not doing it. Like, you don't understand how much I'm not doing it because I don't, and it's not my passion, and I have my own thing, and I like what I'm doing, and I'm not going to work for someone else for cheaper. I gave him that. And then 2 weeks later, I get a call, and he's like, okay, like, they're trying to give you more and hire it, because you get what I'm saying? You got to use what you have. You can't be weak, and especially with politics. Someone said, do you think they would count the votes accurately? Another thing, I don't know. I don't know how they count, if Trump is wise, he would make sure they do. I don't know how though. Mitch McConnell, he's got to be taking meetings and figuring out how to make sure. Put a bipartisan elected person in every county or something. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think it'll be okay. But they got to make sure, the Republicans have to make sure, they know better than I, that the steps are taken to make sure it's a fair election. Like in Florida, when they had that lady cheat and then they kept her job and then she cheated again or something and they kicked her out. It's like, that's what happens when you leave a cheater there. They should have took it. And then like Rick Scott's like, she's fired. It's like, you're too late. But you got it. Someone says, sorry, we're having trouble playing this video. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, guys, but it's okay. Someone said, I got to stretch. All right. Let's see. Someone said buffering. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Sorry. Hopefully it's working for most people. Someone said presidents are selected, not elected. It's a possibility. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate you. God bless. Where do I differ from David Icke? We're just different people, honestly. I don't know. I'm totally different than him. But as far as, it's tough now because this is a game the media tries to play. They say, you can agree with us, but you can't agree with David. You can't agree with Alex. You can't agree with Trump. You can't agree with Ted Cruz. Like, only us. So they play these games, but it's like, I don't fully agree with anybody. But as far as like, his entire worldview and stuff, I'll listen to him. I don't know where he is now. They deleted him on Facebook and YouTube, but I've listened to him a few times over the past few years, and I like his mindset on stuff, and I consider it. So we're two different people, but I can't point out everything I disagree with him on or agree with him on. I would have to really sit down and take 5 minutes and be like, figure out what he thinks about everything. But I consider everything, and I'm good at pointing out what I like and what I don't like. But with him, I think I get what they're doing, but I really wish that they would sit with him and debate him rather than delete him. I think that was wrong because I don't agree with everything he's saying on that. But, he also makes points that you won't see on Fox News or CNN. So I see it like that. I'm like, well, the people that are the gatekeepers are not the best people. If the gatekeepers that wanted to delete Alex Jones and David Icke were these phenomenal journalists who just were so honest and so pure, then I would be like, you know what? That's okay. I'm not okay with it, but like, They're not that people, though. It's like the world's worst people, the biggest liars, the biggest sneaks, want to decide who can and can't say what. So they have a terrible track record, and then they want to supersede everyone else. So it's like, how come the New York Times and CNN didn't get deleted when they made big errors that confused millions of people? I mean, they've done dozens of things where they'd had to fire staff members because they made a false story. They tanked the stock market, I believe, at ABC with a fake news story. They literally ruined, billions of dollars temporarily, but that made billions of dollars transaction because of their mistake. So they don't enforce these things accurately. That's the big problem with the censorship. Someone said, yeah, we'll see. I mean, you would imagine that Trump, if he really wants to win and it's a real election, that he will look into, and both sides will make sure that it's an accurate election. We'll see. Is a good question. Nick, what's up, brother? Nick said, hey man, great stuff. Thanks, Nick. He said, what do you think about Trump's comments on the stock market manipulation? Is this really all a power play? No, it was a great comment. And I said this months ago, but in a different way. Trump said you got to watch because certain people manipulate the stock market, and they're betting. It's called short selling. They're betting against the stock market. It's true. They call and this is not a conspiracy theory. It's just the truth. Look into the history of George Soros, and he's made a lot of money manipulating entire economies. And he's talked about it on television, on cable news. So this is not a theory, or this is not like a smear piece on him. Listen to him in his own words. He's bet against certain things in currencies, and it's screwed up entire countries. And his logic is basically, if I didn't do it, someone else would have done it. And I think that's Elon Musk's logic with Neuralink and stuff like that. Everyone's doing it, so I'm going to do it too. You can figure out if you think that's right or wrong. But the point I'm getting to is, it's a real thing. Short selling is a real thing. They have a whole movie with Brad Pitt and Christian Bale called The Big Short. Have you ever seen The Big Short? It's a fact that they do that. I mean, they literally have a blockbuster movie about it. So I think it's great that Trump pointed that out. And that's also what I've been pointing out for 4 months, as all these people are telling people CEOs are stepping down because they're going to get arrested. I'm telling people CEOs are stepping down, getting away from companies, possibly taking their stocks out, saving money, and then reinvesting when the market's down, or betting against the market when they know it's going to go down. That's way more likely than thinking CEOs step down because they're getting arrested. They're not getting arrested. They're making money. So it was good that Trump pointed that out. It's a possibility, and that's why it's so dangerous for YouTube, Facebook, Google, and the news to say you can't question them, because they try to tell you that reality isn't real. For instance, what do you learn about in school? You learn about, George Washington, then the 1800s, then the 1900s. And what do you learn about in the 1900s? You learn about Nazi Germany. You learn about Stalin in Russia. You learn about Mao Zedong. You learn about all this corruption, all this stuff. And then you learn that there's U.S. companies like Volkswagen, like Bayer, that were involved in these companies, in these countries, that they tell you was a massacre of millions of people. So or they tell you that these things are, 20 million people died, 30 million, these things. And then they tell you, you can't think that would happen again. So it's like, if you question history at all, they call you a conspiracy theorist. But if you believe their history that they told you, they call you a conspiracy theorist anyway. You can't win. You question World War II, you're a conspiracy theorist, you need to be deleted. You believe in World War II, and I point to it and I say, listen, Bayer, now merging with Monsanto, did this, Operation Paperclip, these people came to the United States, then so I can't believe it, but I can't disagree with it. You get what I'm saying? It's like, you're crazy to think that there's billionaires that would do bad things. You need to be deleted. Even some conservatives go on, they're like, how dare you question William Gates? There's conservatives doing it. I'm like, listen, bro, these are the same people that spend their whole life bad-mouthing George Soros. If you listen to left-wing media, you think George Soros is a philanthropist and a nice guy that's saving the world. You listen to right-wing media, they tell you George Soros is manipulating economies and, involved in all this politics, doing terrible things. It's two different views on the same person. Same goes with Bill Gates. Some people think he's a great guy. Some people don't agree with his politics and his worldview. And it's okay to think either one in my perspective, but they try to act like you're not allowed to. It's called wrong think. It's in 1984. You can't think that Bill Gates is a bad guy. You can't think that it's like, why can you think Donald Trump is a bad guy, but I can't disagree with Bill Gates? It makes no sense. This happened in World War II, but I'm not allowed to think that it happened, or if I was to suggest it could happen again, I'm a conspiracy theorist. No, that's exactly, it's a total control system that they have. You can't question anything. You got to agree with it, but if you agree with it, you can't disagree with the New York Times, but if Anomaly uses the New York Times article or a Newsweek article, we're going to censor that video. All I did was read Newsweek in the New York Times. So they're allowed to publish it. I can't disagree with it. But when I agree with something that they say that they don't want people to know, I can't say it. That's how they operate. So you get what I'm saying? Someone said Ford. I mean, a lot of companies were involved in Nazi Germany. But the point is, they say this happened, and then they say if you say it happened, you can't say that. So it's like, which one is it? Am I allowed to question history? No. Okay. So can I agree with history? No. Okay. So what? They're totally inconsistent. It's like you can't do anything. They just want you to believe that they're not doing what they're literally doing. That's really all it is. You can't say that this is possible, even though we just spent 12 years in school telling you it's possible and it happened. But it happened in people's lifetimes that are alive, but you can't say it happened or that it could happen again. It's a theory. It makes literally no sense. All right. Let me see. Do you think the Cloward-Piven theory James said, has been applied to economy? I would have to look that up. I've heard it a bit, but I would have to really research it. Let me see. Someone said Fanta soda. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that came from a lot of countries. I mean, you know, maybe they changed their ways, maybe they didn't, but it's okay to question it. Let's see. I'm reading what Cloward-Piven strategy is a political strategy outlined in 1966 by American sociologist and political activist Richard Clower and Francis Fox Piven that called for overloading the U.S. public welfare system in order to precipitate a crisis that would lead to the replacement of the welfare system, a guaranteed annual income, and thus an end to poverty. It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing that they don't want people to understand. I can't tell you who's nefarious and who's not. You can make your own decisions, but there's two different worldviews going on right now. I don't know what Bill Gates thinks he's doing, but I voted for, we'll see this election. It's like, I don't have to agree with Joe Biden's point of view. I can agree with Trump's point of view. You can agree with Biden's point of view. It's whatever, but they try to say you can't disagree. Bill Gates and Trump don't have the same, worldview, so you don't have to agree with them. Who's to say you can't? So some people want big welfare systems because they think it's going to decrease poverty. Some people want small welfare systems because they think welfare systems incentivize poverty. It's two different worldviews, and you're allowed to think either one. But they believe in one that they believe in. A lot of times they're totally wrong, and then they try to stop other people from believing in theirs or posting about it. It's tyrannical. So David said, but your points are getting through to many of us, and that's what it takes. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And the world shifts very quickly. People who never thought this way. And this is where Trump really, regardless of what you think of him, you could think he sold out, you could think he's still the real deal, whatever. He brought about millions of people who never were thinking this way. One of the big things I think he did was the media. I used to tell people that I knew that were older, not everyone, but a lot of people never wanted to hear that the media was corrupt. I knew it from the time I was 19. I was like, the media is all owned by a few corporations. They might be lying. People thought that was crockpot, crazy, nonsense, conspiratorial. Trump said it, and all of a sudden, a lot of people over 30 and 40 started being like, yeah, even under, people in their 20s, like, I guess so. He showed people the media was corrupt. For that, I think he will be blessed beyond measure, because that's a big thing for America, to understand that, and that's part of the, conditioning. If you realize that, then you start questioning. Now what they have is they're doubling, tripling down on trying to get people to think a certain way, and they can't do it. It's actually a beautiful thing. You know, they're rigging Google, but they still can't get it right. They're deleting people off social media, but they still can't get rid of them. It's interesting. Alex Jones built a new website called banned.video. Regardless of what you think of him or the website or the content on it, it's very well done. I like BitChute and the people over at BitChute, but Alex's website is way better designed. Like, it looks like YouTube, just as good if not better, and they have videos on there. So it's like they tried to delete him, he made his own website, and now they're getting more traffic. Now when Judy Mikovits's documentary gets deleted, it's on Alex's website, it's on BitChute, it's on other platforms that they can't control, and they're driving traffic away. BitChute had a bigger month. I'm sure Alex has had a bigger 2 months. So regardless of what you think of them, they are going to bite themselves in the butt, and people just, when they deleted Plandemic, people wanted to see it more. And they can't delete it out of everywhere, so they're overplaying their hand a little bit, so that's good news. Yeah, that's it. It's all good. Exactly, Lloyd. God bless, brother. David says, since TV was invented. Yeah, it's interesting, too. You got to look at the guy who invented television. He said he didn't even want his own kids watching television. I forget his name. But at Google, inventor of the TV, he was like, nah, this is propaganda. He didn't say it word for word, but I'll find it real quick. Let's see. Let's look it up. Bang. I think I have it in a video, an older video. Let's see. Inventor Philo Farnsworth of TV. Philo, kids watching. Let's see. The inventor of the TV, Philo Farnsworth, wouldn't even let his own kids watch television. He said something along the lines of, there's nothing on it worthwhile. Let me see. There's nothing on it worthwhile, and we're not going to watch. So it's interesting. All right, I got about 10 more minutes, and I'm going to roll out. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave this up for a while, but what I'm eventually going to do on this live stream, I really like it. I'm going to put it onto YouTube and BitChute, bitchute.com, and then it's going to stay there, and it'll probably end on here. So you can watch it on YouTube, but I would watch it on BitChute. bitchute.com/dreamrare is my BitChute, and it'll be on YouTube as well. Brenda, thank you. God bless Canada. Someone said I had a video that claimed to debunk Plandemic. I had a video that claimed to debunk Plandemic, taken down as false info, LOL. So now they're fact-checking the fact-checkers of Plandemic. Yeah, they're going, I've read an article about it too. That's funny that they flagged it, but I like to hear both sides because I don't know Judy, but it's funny. When you read the fact-checkers, it's like, you're like, that's a good point, or you're just like, nah, that's a little bit of a stretch. So I said, oh, all right. What do I think of the press secretary, Kaylee? I think she's doing a good job, honestly. I think she's crushing. I think Sarah Sanders is a nice woman, but I was never super impressed with her. I mean, she did her thing and people liked her, but it's a tough job. But I think Kaylee is really she's got her stuff. She's got her facts down. So I think she's doing a good job overall. Very good. And it's good, better people. Even Richard Grenell, the LGBT guy that Trump put as the intelligence chief, he's doing more in a week than the last guy did in like 3 years. So, I don't know who had that position before, but, the new people are coming out swinging. Same with Bill Barr. I think he's going a little harder than Sessions, but I don't know. What do you think about the Italian politician? I got to look that up. I saw the one video, but I got to look up the whole thing. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Thanks, Beverly. Yeah, she's good. She's good. Have I watched John Stossel? No, I've never seen him. Thank you, Ethan. I appreciate it. BitChute? Yeah, bitchute.com/dreamrare. So if you search Anomaly, it should be that, but if you want the domain, it's bitchute.com/dreamrare. And BitChute is spelled BITCHUTE, bitchute.com. I'm excited too, guys, because I wrote a little bit, not enough for a full book. I was going to work on a book, but I thought of a different thing because I like poems. I like wordplay. I always have. So I figured out an angle yesterday of like a book I can do, a creative type book. So I'm going to start working on that. I'm kind of excited. So I'm going to work on a little book. And it's not going to be like a normal book. It's going to be weird. So I'm pretty excited because I make music. I do this, but sometimes things get stagnant. I've been inside a lot. I'm pumped about it. bitchute.com/dreamrare. If you guys chill for a second, I'll post it. I could probably just find the link and post it for you. But when I post, I guess the guys at BitChute, they like me and follow me on Twitter. So now when I post when I post YouTube videos, they go right to BitChute. So yeah, I would watch it on BitChute. And a lot of the live streams, not all of them, but a lot of the live streams you like on here, I put them on BitChute as well after just because. And Kaylee's a pit bull. She's great. Yeah, she's crushing. Listen, I'm tough. When I'm tough on people too, I think a lot of people don't know me, only know the videos and stuff. But I'm a nice guy, obviously. But I'm tough too. I'm tough on myself. Why do you think I made all this stuff happen? Why do you think I make so much videos? I go hard on myself, and I like the Jordan documentary because it reminds me of like competitiveness, where it's like when I pushed the Trump administration, I'm not being mean about it. I just want it to be better. Kaylee's good, I like giving people credit. She's really good at her job. She's more people like that. So it's like people think being tough is like mean, like don't say that. No, it's like the mommy Malkins. There's the BitChute thing. The mommy Malkins, the anomalies. We're not being mean. We wanna raise the bar. That's what we want to do. So there's my BitChute, and maybe I'll do you got my BitChute thing? All right. Maybe I'll do a new email. I've been collecting emails. How about this? I'm going to post it. I'm going to do an email this week or next week. I haven't done an email in like months. Stayintouchwithme.com is the email, all one word. Good domain, right? Stayintouchwithme.com. And sign up to my email list. I'll post out an email next week. It's going to cost me money, though. They're like, to send 30,000 emails. I'm like, all right, let's give them my money, but it's okay. I'm going to send out an email, and I'll explain what I'm doing with the censorship and stuff when it comes to BitChute and others, so people know, and then you can watch certain stuff on there. If you're on Facebook, stay on here for now. I mean, you don't have to stay on Facebook if you don't want to, but they're good to me. As long as they're good to me, it can be mutual. The second they turn against me, I'll let you know. But someone said John Stossel's a libertarian, does articles and stuff. Yeah, I'll check him out. Someone said she's a 9 out of 10, Michelle. Mommy Malkin. Thanks, Angelo. Someone said, please tell us I talked about it earlier, guys, in the stream. I don't want to the same stuff, but. Someone said, anomaly, these discussions are great. What do we do to help open America? Trump has no urgency. I think it takes people, I sound like a broken record, but I think it takes enough of his supporters making sure he knows how urgent it is. Listen, if I'm not detached from reality, I live in it. If you don't live the life, like Trump is in the White House, he's the president of the United States. He's living a world that no one is living, which is amazing. I'm not knocking him, but I don't think he has urgency because maybe he doesn't understand or he doesn't care. I don't know. Maybe he does, but it's not our job to figure out what he's thinking. His supporters need to let him know how urgent it is that he opens. I mean, even Florida's moving too slow for me. And this is how you know, like Florida and Georgia and Tennessee, they said it's going to be terrible. You can look at all the articles warning Georgia not to open. The same articles that warned him, none of them covered the fact that the hospitalizations were lower. So they warn you and scare you, and then when the good news comes, they don't report it. ISIS is scary, North Korea is scary for 5 years. When something good happens, they don't report it. They're like fear leeches, demons. I'm not saying they really are, but you get what I'm saying? It's like they just claw onto fear. It's like if you're going to cry about something for a month, at least tell the truth about it when it happens for the better. They don't want to report good news. So to get Trump to be urgent, I think enough of his supporters need to tell him how urgent it is. And I'm doing what I can. I have a big audience. I have a decent sized following. I'm telling him every day, every single day on Twitter. I know his campaign manager follows me. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, open up now. The phase plan, in my opinion, sucks. The data and the hospitalization rate and the mortality rate, it's clearer than it's ever been, and it's better than it's ever been. So if you're going to scare people, at least give people some comforting truth. They do it some, but I hear you. I don't think enough urgency is there, and I don't think enough people. You know, Trump is a populist type guy. If enough people say it, I think he'll get it, you know? But I think there's too many people that don't want to say it. And I get it because, you know, I think a lot of people, when you love the president, you get a lot of people who love the president. And if you know, disagree with them, a lot of people disagree with you. It's not easy to do. So there's a lot of angles to it, but you know, at the end of the day, it's not a blame game. We have a job like he has a job, and our job is not to cheerlead. Our job is not to make excuses for things that don't make sense. Our job is to let him know when we don't agree. That's it. Someone said the Dems are holding back. Guys, even the Republicans are holding back. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Trump put Fauci there. Trump extended the lockdown, 15 days, 30 days. Trump put in the phase plan. Even Republican states like Florida and others, not all of them, but others, they're following Trump's plan. Trump's plan is not open up America. Trump's plan was not open up as soon as possible. So you can blame the Democrats till the cows come home because they're the worst out of the two, but you have to get out of this dual thing. Like, giving him excuses doesn't help us. That hurts us. So you got to stop doing that. He's not this innocent victim who just, please don't close the economy, keep it open. He didn't do that. He put Fauci there. He's working on a fast vaccine with big pharma executives, even though, you know, he railed against herd immunity. He railed against Georgia. He railed against Sweden. He extended it. He put the phase plan. He's not going, he doesn't have enough urgency, and he is, you know, in some ways responsible for the shutdown. Would Democrats have blamed him if he didn't shut down? Of course. Are they going to blame him still? Of course. Is it all his fault? No. Do Democrats have power? Yes. Is he interfering? No. So all that's true, but you got to get out of this thing of like being a PR team for him. He's not, in no way, shape, or form is he like really fighting for freedom right now. It's just the facts. Got you, Tom. Got you, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's all good. We'll get there. That's it. We'll get there. So, Ryan, this is a good point. I want to bring this up too. Ryan says, I love Trump, but he employs neocon globalists. Barely anyone in the administration is a muscular American nationalist. Ryan, I want to talk about that because this is the difference between, I'm caught in the Michael Jordan documentary because I keep watching it, but like Jordan tried to make his team better. He might have been mean, but they won championships. Michelle Malkin might seem mean, but she wants to win. She wants to accomplish something. Same with me. So with Trump, there's people for the last 4 years who warned Trump's employing too many neocons. Trump's employing people who don't like him. Trump is putting people on a pedestal and giving them positions that are in America first. And when you do that in the Trump movement, people try to push back against you. You don't know what you're talking about. But you look at who got held accountable. His most loyal people got arrested. Roger Stone helped him run in the first place. Regardless of how you feel about Roger Stone, he's part of the reason Trump even ran. He was his original campaign manager. Got bamboozled. You know, General Flynn, he was probably going to do good things. He got bamboozled. Trump backed away from him originally. Trump said, I got to get rid of him because I want to keep my hands clean from this. You know, anybody who's been loyal to Trump in America has got whacked. And anybody who hasn't keeps getting promoted. He does put in too many neocons. And a lot of people, that's why someone asked me earlier what I think about the message board poster. If it inspires you to do the righteous things that are honest and good and kind, then good. If it inspires you to be complacent and think that Trump is like this Batman character that's going to arrest thousands of people, then it's not a good thing because you have to be tough on Trump, on his administration, and anybody, you know, that doesn't want to talk about any of those things. They don't want to talk about free speech. They don't want to. It's not good. And I agree with you. He does put too many neocons and stuff, and he figures it out eventually, and then he fires them. Someone said he makes bad decisions. Sometimes, you know. The people who are going to do good things got whacked, and then they just get replaced with people who are, you know, swampier. And that's going to, you know, that, in my opinion, there are people who talk out about that stuff, but it's not popular in the Trump movement because everybody just wants to believe that everything he's doing is a chess move. But sometimes you make the wrong move. In chess, you know, even Kasparov lost to like AI. It's possible to make a wrong move sometimes. It's not to blame him for anything, but it's okay to realize that certain people like John Bolton, he employed John Bolton for a while. Bolton almost ended up testifying against him in Congress. They made one move and he didn't get to do it. But who told you John Bolton was not Trump's guy? Me, Tucker Carlson, Cassandra Fairbanks, we all knew who John Bolton was. Maybe Trump was playing 4D chess. I let him do it because I'm like, whatever, but he ended up turning against Trump. But we all saw it coming. We knew John Bolton was not a Trump guy, but Trump put him in there. I don't know why, but he was this close to being somebody who could have got Trump out of office. With the impeachment thing, they were this close to putting Bolton on to Congress, and he had enough clout and probably, connections to do some bad stuff to Trump. So it's okay to be tough. That's what I think. Someone said, Trump, yeah, everyone's waiting for it. We'll see. It's all love. It's all good. It's just, that's the type of person I am. I'm tough on myself. I like, someone said people love making excuses, for sure. But there's also a movement of people who they don't question him at all. The entire movement is to treat him like he's the return of Christ and say that nothing he does is wrong. Everything's chess move. There's never a time that he's gonna get all these people accountable. But if you listen to him, he's like telling you, he's like, listen, I'm trying, but there's roadblocks. It's just how it works. It's all good. Someone said Trump listens to his daughter and SI. That's his problem. I don't know who's doing what, but yeah, overall, Ivanka and Kushner have a massive amount of power. And who talks about that all the time? Michelle Malkin. I love that. I love that woman. I don't agree with everything. I don't know everything she's doing, but she's like one Republican. She doesn't care. She's just like, listen, you're listening to Kushner too. Dude, Kushner, he's in charge of the border. He's in charge of coronavirus. He's got so much power because of Ivanka, and Trump just gives him, but they're not, they're not traditional conservatives, I don't think, which is fine, but it's like, if Hillary or Biden put their son in positions of power and started doing stuff you disagreed with, you'd say something. But if Trump does it, the only one who says stuff is like Michelle. That's why I love Mommy Malkin. Yeah, Tucker's good too. They question him. It's okay. And what did he say today to Michelle? He said, thank you, Michelle. Thank you. He didn't say, F you, Michelle, you rail against my daughter. F you, Michelle, you rail against Kushner. He didn't say that. He said, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for standing up for internet censorship. Michelle Malkin has called Trump out thousands of times, saying, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I don't like what Kushner, she calls him President Kushner. She makes fun of Trump and says, you're letting Jared Kushner be the president. He still said, thank you. That's the type of guy Trump is. I respect that. That's why I think it's okay. I think it's okay to question him. Michelle is much meaner to Trump than I am, and he said, thank you, Michelle. He didn't say, you question me too much. He likes people who make sense. He doesn't like people like CNN who don't make sense. Yeah, he's playing his role. We got to play ours, That's why I like the Michelle Malkin America First crowd. It's not because I'm them. I'm me. I like things that I like. They like things that they like. I operate how I like. And I don't do it for any other reason besides that's who I am. I'm not them. They're not me. But I like that they have a goal and they're not apologists. I think it's respectful. And I think that gets results a lot quicker than people who play this game. Kika said, I'm watching from Ecuador. God bless Ecuador. Viva la Ecuador. Or El Ecuador. I don't know. Is it feminine or masculine? Someone said, I love Candace. She's great. Listen, I've been very impressed with Candace over the last couple months. We've had our moments. We've had our little arguments and stuff. We've worked together. She let me speak at Blegs at one time. But I texted her to let her know. I was like, this last 2 months, she's been saying some unpopular things earlier than most Republicans. And I respect her for that. I told her, the truth is not always popular. And I appreciate and respect what you're doing. She was early on coronavirus. So early, she got massacred by Republicans. But she ended up being more right than they were. So, I think time tells all. And I think she's done a phenomenal job over these past few months. So have Diamond and Silk. So have, so is Elon Musk, everything Elon does. But in times of crisis and chaos, you realize who your real friends are. And in times of American crisis, you realize who you can trust and who you can't. And I think she's stepped up a lot over the last few months, and I'm wildly impressed. So someone said the hand will be revealed on November 2020th. We'll see. Thanks, Don. I appreciate it. Someone said, I like Trump because he's not a politician, but someone that gets it done. He's, up until this Corona thing, he's done phenomenal. And this was going to be bad for him either way. They definitely gave him a lose-lose, but, you know, he could step it up a little bit. But listen, it's May. I was like, it's March, it's May. We'll see. The world changes quickly. If he could hold Google accountable and do something about social media censorship, and we can actually get some stuff done and let this never happen again, I'm cool. But he's got to turn ship around. What's happening is just whack. But thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Someone said, Alberta, Canada loves you. Whether I disagree or, you said, the respect I see between those truly engaged. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. How about Terrence? Terrence Williams? I like Terrence. I've met Terrence a few times. Really nice guy. Really funny, you know. Terrence is he focuses more on comedy. So, you know, Terrence doesn't really analyze stuff. He just supports the president, makes comedy. But comedy has value. You know, Terrence is funny. When I see him in my feed, he makes me smile and he makes me laugh. And you know what's better than a smile and a laugh? So Terrence is a good guy. I like him. He's not a Tucker Carlson. He doesn't report stuff, but he's funny. And I've met him in person. He's a nice guy. So I like Terrence a lot. Can we send you videos? Yeah, you can, but I can't read hundreds of messages a day. So you get what I'm saying? You can send them, but I got to take a break because I do this. I edit. I work too much. Sometimes not enough, but too much. So I can't, sometimes when I'm done, I just want to relax. Someone said, weird, Vice President Pence has not been around. Yeah, it's weird. Someone said Trump did not employ Fauci. He didn't employ him. Ronald Reagan employed him, not a Democrat or Republican. So Ronald Reagan put Fauci there. But Trump is working. He didn't have to put him on the coronavirus task force, you know. He didn't employ him per se, but he gave him a lot of power. A lot of power and a lot of authority. So I don't think he needed to do that. But he did do that, and you can agree or disagree with it, but I just time to make excuses for it. Someone said, why do we need the military to distribute a vaccine? Yeah, it's creepy. I mean, no one should think that's a good idea. I mean, you could think whatever, but to me, it's massively creepy. If Obama did this, I would be like, this is terrible. If Hillary did this, if Trump did it, I'm not going to act like it's cool. And the biggest thing I want people to realize is, to me, it's not pro or anti-vaccine. It's really not. It's just like science. The science says SARS has been around for decades. I believe since 2000s. I don't know, maybe earlier. You can look into the history of SARS. It's not new. Maybe they're still working on a vaccine. I don't know if they found one or not. You're talking about 15, 16 years. There's no guarantee that Trump can find a coronavirus vaccine for COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. 6 months, the fastest ever, speed through safety trials. It's a horrible idea. And the fact that he's using the military to distribute it, whether it's optional or not, is beyond bizarrely not cool. So there's no reason to say that it is, in my opinion. But I don't know what he's doing. I don't have to agree with it, though. And it's like people are like, well, some people are going to want it. Yeah, but it's like, don't rush it. You can't rush cures. I mean, you got to do trials, but I don't trust it. I don't know. Someone said, oh, Pence is self-quarantine? Yeah, that might be true. I don't know. You might be right. I'm not sure. That's creepy about the military. Yeah, look into Operation Warp Speed. The whole thing is weird. He's working with the ex-head of GlaxoSmithKline, who, you know, is whatever. You know, I'm sure he's a nice guy or whatever, but he's working with him and the military. It's kind of creepy. I'm not going to lie. It's like if he was just working with big pharma executives or ex-executive, it's still a little suspect, but whatever. I get it, I guess. But like that and the military, it's bizarrely creepy. I don't know. He's like, we're going to get it done and get it distributed. It's like, bro, what? Never mind. It's creepy. Even if it's not forced, what people need to understand, you need to make sure it's safe. There have been vaccines that backfire. I mean, I read it the other day. Google AP polio vaccine and tell me what the first article you find in the AP is. Polio vaccine AP. and then read it. Read about Lyme disease, read about other testing. Guys, it's a very sensitive thing because a vaccine, a lot of times, if not every time, it has the virus or the disease inside of it, a small amount. So you build antibodies. That's kind of the science behind it. It's more complex than that, but you could look into it. If you don't do it right, it can make the disease worse. Even Dr. Fauci went on television and admitted that because it's true. And I'll give him credit for actually saying that on television. I was blown away. I was like, did he really just admit that? Because you never hear anybody say that. Trump mentioned it a few times too. You can't rush a vaccine through trials. It's a horrible idea. There should probably be more testing and more data and more transparency, not less testing and less transparency. And certainly the military being involved in the fastest vaccine rush through clinical trials ever. To me, it's a terrible idea, regardless of who does it. But yeah, it's not even if it's optional, that's fine. But it's still not a good idea. People are going to get it, and it should be safe, and it should be tested. And I don't think personally that this. Someone said I'm educated in virology and immunity, and you're 100% correct. Well, thank you. But I just don't. I don't understand why. Like, I don't think it justifies because of the mortality rate of this and the spread and the history of the flu vaccine and stuff. I don't think it's this big rush. I don't. If this was. It's not a big rush. The hospitalizations, all this stuff, every prediction they had was totally off, but they still just keep pushing. But all right, whatever. How do we send videos? You can send them on Facebook but to be honest, I'd rather you not. I'm gonna be honest. I get so many videos. Sometimes I see a good one, but I just don't. I dread reading comments on Instagram now. I used to tell people to message me on Instagram. I don't even have time. I get between Facebook, Instagram, and other things, I get hundreds of messages a day. I just don't have the time to read it. So I kind of dread getting messages. If you could tell me the video here, that's the best way. So Darren, that's funny. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to get in trouble. But Darren, that's a good comment. That's funny. All right. Someone said, I'm 63. We got the polio shots at school. We'll see. Someone said China didn't need one. No, I mean, it's crazy what they're doing, but whatever. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Tracy, what's up, Tracy? Tracy said, my son is stationed in Germany right now, and it makes me so nervous. He said soldiers are embarrassed by Americans' behavior, who are caving into the governors. They're questioning why they're even serving, and so many people are blind to hand over their rights. Well, I'll pray for you and your family. God bless your son in Germany. So didn't Africa do test trials? I mean, you got to look into it. I'm not going to say more, but I mean, there are studies and there are results, and you could look into all that yourself, but I can't talk about it. Someone said, Justin, thank you for the super chat. He said, I'm in the Marine Corps. I don't think we could do that on a mass scale. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, right now he's working with the military logistics. So the military is good with logistics. Maybe he's just, he wants to feel like he's like the war president, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing or why he's using the military. It's just creepy because this is things people have talked about for decades and everyone said we're crackpots, and now it's all happening. There's been a theory for decades. I'm talking about since 2008, 2007, that they're going to use Walmarts and FEMA camps. Like, this has been around. I'm not saying it's happening right now, but it's a little too close for comfort, to be honest. It's like people have talked about this for a while. And it's like military, martial law. I'm not saying it's happening, but it's too close for comfort, let's be honest. Someone said, dude, I'm going to laugh so hard in 10 years from now if I see a commercial about a class action lawsuit. Brilliant point, my man. They say you're crazy. They say you can't question everything, but then they show you commercials about class action lawsuits all the time. The same company that the Trump administration's funding, Johnson & Johnson, you could look into their class action lawsuits. I'm not saying they're guilty or innocent. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I didn't do the studies. look into it yourself. But Trump is funding, and the Trump administration rather, is funding hundreds of millions of dollars into Johnson & Johnson. They're going to tell you you're not allowed to question it or you're a theorist, but that company themselves has already faced a class action lawsuit of some sort or some sort of lawsuit for their baby powder, you know? And I don't know what happened or how real it is or not, but it's like this idea, you can't question it, but then you watch TV, it's like class action lawsuit, class action lawsuit, class action lawsuit. So the people who said it 10 years ago were crazy conspiracy theorists, but now it's okay because the lawyers on television told you it's okay. They told you it's okay to know that it's bad now. It's like, it's such a joke, but you know, people that think get it. Someone said, I'm going to read this real quick. Someone said, according to Highwire, Dell Bigtree, they have been trying to create a coronavirus vaccine for decades, and they have never managed to create an RNA virus, blah, blah, blah. How are they going to do it in a year? Well, that's a good question. That's why I was talking about SARS. I can't confirm everything that they've said, but when it comes to SARS, SARS is a form of coronavirus, and it's been around for, like you said, at least over a decade, maybe 2 decades or so, and they don't have the solution. You know, they didn't. It took them 15 years. After 15 years, I don't believe they ever found one, and I think they're still looking. So this idea that Trump is going to be able to make it by January because he said so, it defies all science and logic. There's multiple viruses that there's never been a vaccine for. There's multiple diseases and viruses that the vaccine backfired and it didn't make it through clinical trials, and it went further and backfired. I mean, this is all, you could look into it. And also the flu vaccine, it's been here for 75 years. The first one, I believe, was in 1942. It still doesn't eradicate the flu, and you know, we still have massive flu seasons. I wouldn't even, you could look at the chart of how many people are taking the vaccine and compare it to how many people are getting the flu. I personally don't see any correlation between amount of people getting it and less amount of flu, but you can look into that yourself. There's no rhyme or reason. The only thing people will say, there's 2 types of people. One will say he's doing it for optics, and then the other people will say he's secretly not doing it by doing it, and it's really just clownery. It's like, I don't know. It's like if you want your whole life to be just making pretend that everything he does is perfect or something, then you join those groups. But if you want to like stand up for yourself in America, then, you know, you question it. It's all good though. And with the testing and the tracking and the vaccine and all that stuff, you got to understand it's not just, people keep saying, well, it's going to be optional. And here's the thing about that. In red states, it'll be optional. In blue states, it'll be up to the senators or the governors or whoever makes the lawmakers and what they pass and what they don't pass. So in blue states, you don't know what they're going to tell you to do yet. And it's the same with testing. Trump is setting himself up for failure. He got all the ventilators. They didn't care. He got all the testing. They didn't care. He knows they don't care. The more testing, the more cases. The more cases, you know, the higher the numbers. The higher the numbers, the more they extend. And also, they're going to use testing and at a certain time. If they used it innocently, it's fine. But if they make people get tested, if they make you say, you got to go here, you got to go here, you can't go here to that, you can't go, it's the end of freedom in America. It's like with the masks. I don't mind being smart about masks, but at a certain point, when the data and science doesn't go their way and then they get more tyrannical, they're supposed to get less tyrannical and smarter as the numbers come in. They've done the complete opposite. The more the science and data goes against what they said, they still do even more than they said they were going to do a month ago. It's like opposite land. So, you know, Trump is playing all the wrong games. I mean, people can make excuses for him, but when it comes to mass testing, tracking, vaccinations or whatever, he doesn't know what senators are going to do or not. He doesn't control the governors. So he's saying it's not going to be this or that, but he doesn't know what Washington, New Jersey are going to do. They could make their own little rules probably, and then it could be challenged in the Supreme Court. We'll see. But I wish personally he would do more of what Elon Musk does. I think what Elon does is very helpful, which is challenge them and also say the numbers are not accurate that they're reporting, because they're really not. That's just, you got to understand where the numbers are coming from, how they're counting, and once you do that, it's scary. Someone said HIV is a virus, it still doesn't have a preventative vaccine. Exactly. There's no excuse for trying to rush a warp speed vaccine. I mean, But these are the games they play. Like, whether he's purposely doing it or not, what happened on the same day? The same day that Trump pushed Operation Warp Speed, two things happened. They flew Thunderbirds over, and then he made a new Space Force flag. And I said 2 weeks ago, as did everybody, but at least I did. I don't know what everyone else is saying. Operation Warp Speed is a Space Force name. Instead of saying I'm rushing a vaccine through clinical trials and trying to use the military to get it there, he says Operation Warp Speed. It's a way to hype up conservatives to make them think it's cool. I said it's just like Space Force. He calls it a funny name. And then what does he do the same day he passes Operation Warp Speed? He reveals the new Space Force. All the big, no offense, it's just true. Oh my God, look at the Space Force flag. I love Trump. It's such an obvious deception, you know? Don't look at the space. Don't question the Operation Warp Speed. Look at the Space Force flag. I'm your guy. It's kind of sneaky. I don't know if he purposely did that or not, but when you make a name like Warp Speed and then you're doing Space Force stuff the same day to offset the other creepy stuff you're doing, you know, I'm not falling for it. I mean Thunderbirds, but it's like freedom is even cooler. Thunderbirds flying over as everyone's on the beaches and everyone's having a good time, not when you can't go to the supermarket or do anything without standing 30 feet away from it. It seems a little bit sneaky, but it's all good. We'll get there. Yeah, someone said it took 30 years to come up with an acceptable treatment to HIV. Yeah, it's pure science to understand everything doesn't have a cure when you want it. You research and you find it and you learn it, and that's just how it works. There is no rushing the cure. All right. I got to take off soon. Someone said I'm done with this. Are you talking about the shutdown or me? Either way. No, you guys are good. Don't apologize. You're good. Are is switching optics to send the public chasing something else? For sure. All politicians are, but Trump is too. And you learn that, even if you love him. I learned that. I very rarely disagreed with him a year or two ago. I mean, sometimes, but it wasn't a big deal. I learned it when I watched Laura Ingraham, and I've said this before, but I watched him talk about H-1B visas. I understand the visas. I understand the logic behind it, unemployment. I get that to a pretty full extent. And I didn't agree with him. Lou Dobbs doesn't agree with him. Laura Ingraham doesn't agree with him. Tucker Carlson doesn't agree with him. Michelle Malkin doesn't agree with him. It's actually very unpopular what he's doing among conservatives. And Laura Ingraham questioned him on it, and I saw him sell a lie, and he sold it pretty well. So when you see him do that, you're like, okay, you know, it's a red flag, but also he knows, you know, Space Force. And then why would they call it Operation Warp Speed? It's for sure a Space Force-like title to make conservatives think it's cool. And the funniest part I find about it is there's a huge movement of big Trump fanatics, which is fine, but they're very against vaccinations. That's their choice. Everybody has a choice. They don't like them, but they'll make excuses for Trump when he pushes it or he rushes it through clinical trials because they love Trump. They worship Trump like a god. They conflated Christianity with Trumpism, and they think it's the same thing because they read a message board, and they won't even stand up for things they believe in. That's my beef and issue with Charlie Kirk. They do a lot of decent work, but overall they don't stand up for the values that they preach about, and then that makes me a little hesitant. Same with these message board people. Most of them in unison don't trust Big Pharma, but then they'll make excuses when Trump works with Big Pharma because they think Trump's a wizard or something. It's like those are the type of people who don't help us because they don't believe in what they claim to believe in. They believe in worshiping Trump like an idol. That's their religion. And then they say, oh, I'm a Christian. No, you worship Trump. I like Trump. I made a song about liking. I like him more than most people, and I have but I don't worship him I don't conflate Christianity with QAnon. And they do that. So it's like we believe in against Big Pharma, but when Trump's doing Big Pharma, he's not doing Big Pharma. It's like, guys, you're going to be no help. No help. When Trump passes H-1B visas, you're not helping. When Trump passes anti-free speech legislation, you're not helping. When Trump passes, when he starts enforcing lockdowns and really pushing this phase plan and putting Fauci there, you're not helping. They're not helping. So people ask me what I think of it. If it inspires people to help, it's good. If it inspires people to be complacent, it's annoying. You know, it's like That's why I like Charlie and Ben when they do the right thing. You're not always going to, I don't agree with everything that Ben does, but at least if you're going to make your whole career about standing up for free speech, you better actually do it. You can't not agree in free speech when it doesn't agree with your political view. Then you don't believe in free speech. And it's the same with these big pharma people on the message boards. They distrust big pharma more than anybody, but they have no problem if Trump does it, which is like, it doesn't make sense. And that's why I think we get played too much. So I said, keep talking. You help guarantee a Trump victory, MAGA Trump 2020. I mean, I think he's probably going to win. Joe Biden's a horrible candidate. Tens of millions of people have woken up to the media deception. And, you know, I'm sure he has belief. So I'm sure I'll contribute to some extent, but I don't think he's going to have a problem winning this next election. And honestly, I would not be surprised to see a massive red wave. We'll see, though, but, you know, I'll keep talking regardless. Someone said, I'm a healthcare worker, and I only wear a mask at work because I have to. We have thousands of patients, and less than 20 have COVID-19. It's a long message. Thank you, though, Lori. Someone said, who can Trump? Mary said, who can trust him? Trump, he's a pawn in this game, and same with the rest of us. It's a possibility for sure. You know, I think we'll see. If you're on the right position, though, a pawn could take down a king or a queen if you're in the right position. You get what I'm saying? Regardless of who Trump is or who we are, a pawn placed at a diagonal direction could take down a king or queen. That's just... Someone said, do you think they will replace Biden with Cuomo or Michelle? I don't know. I mean, either... Two options. Democratic Party is so corrupt that, you know, they pick Joe Biden, or it's just WWE. I can't think of any other reason to do what they're doing. To me, it just seems like WWE. We want Trump to win, so let's just pick this guy and make Trump supporters yell at him for 5 months. I have a hard time thinking it's not WWE at this point, but overall, they might replace him. They might leave him there for an easy Trump win. They might put Cuomo or Elizabeth Warren behind him. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe Michelle, if she wants to run, maybe not. I don't know what they're doing, but it's weird. It's either it's all just a joke or they really are this delusional. It's a possibility. It could be either. I don't know. Someone said, you don't understand what the other side is doing. We'll find out. Someone said, can you discuss the Fast and Furious issues going on right now? I don't know enough about what's going on. I know the ones under the Obama administration, but as far as other countries doing that type of stuff and possibly us, I heard a little bit about it today, but I don't know that much about it. Someone said, a pawn can become a queen. That's a fact. Someone said, what happened to hydroxychloroquine? Now it has to be a vaccine. It's a good question. I'll say this. I watched an interesting video about it. I'll have to verify the facts of it, and you should too. But I don't think, like, there's certain companies, I believe, and certain people that want certain things to work and certain things not to work. So hydroxychloroquine, they never wanted it to work. The media never wanted it to work. Fauci never wanted it to work. So they funded trials. But if you look at the hydroxychloroquine trial, the person who funded the main one at Langone Hospital in New York was the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you know? So it's like you have people who have an opinion, they're funding the trials. And from what I've read, I can't confirm it, but from a video I watched, they were saying that Fauci was also behind some of the hydroxychloroquine research, and they ended up finding that they decided it wasn't healthy or helpful. Which is what, if you watch the news, they wanted to believe the whole time. So when they're the ones that are funding the trials, it's hard to believe that those are, you know, accurate, unbiased trials. So now they started pushing the Gilead drug, remdesivir or whatever, for whatever reason. And maybe it's better, maybe it's not, maybe they're biased, whatever. I don't know. But overall, this is the difference between me. I'm not trying to compete, but like me and the QAnon people, they don't believe in remdesivir. They believe in hydroxychloroquine. In fact, some of them got deleted off Twitter because they talked about hydroxychloroquine too much and Twitter didn't like it. but Trump is promoting remdesivir. You get what I'm saying? So it's like they pretend like they like hydroxychloroquine over remdesivir, but when Trump promotes remdesivir, they don't care because they're not based in reality. They don't care about what's going on. Their whole life is to twist everything to pretend like Trump is doing what they want him to do, and he's not doing what they want him to do. It's obvious, and he's not saying what they want him to say. But when he says what they're becoming a joke. And I thought, they had some legitimacy at a certain point because they were researching real stuff. They're becoming a joke, and they're anti-remdesivir. They're pro-hydroxychloroquine, but Trump is off the hydroxychloroquine bandwagon. He's all about remdesivir because he's listening to them. He's listening to Fauci. He's listening to the ex-heads of, GlaxoSmithKline. He's listening to the Bill and Melinda Foundation funded stuff, and he's just parroting whatever they say on television, on Fox News. So you get what I'm saying? I don't know which drug is better, but if you want to know why they're not talking about hydroxychloroquine, is because the powers that be decided remdesivir was the drug they're going to push, and Trump has not pushed back at all. He's just promoting that drug. I'll tell you that. I'll explain it. You can watch it for yourself, or other people are just going to be like, I don't like remdesivir. It's like, well, Trump just promoted it on TV. Well, he's doing it to not promote it. He's promoting it to take it out. It's like, guys, it's becoming a joke. Someone said the patent I don't know why. There could be financial reasons, but I don't know. Whew. Karen says, do you think we could really change the tide? I mean, I think so. At the end of the day, I'm because it's unlikely, but if it gets to the point where the corruption skyrockets and things start, getting worse, it's not going to be like game over. That's my personal opinion. There's going to be people who don't comply. There's going to be people who defend themselves and disagree. And I pray and I hope that it doesn't get to that point. But if it does, there is no, I'm not pessimistic. I believe in myself. I believe in my country. I believe in the freedoms that we've been allowed to have for 300 years, even if we don't have them all now. There's going to be people who stand up for themselves. So, if it does get to that point where it starts getting crazier, I'm really not worried about it. And you shouldn't be worried either. Fear and worrying is not healthy, but also, if it gets to that point, it gets to that point. I pray that it doesn't, but there's going to be millions of people who don't comply, millions of people who are not going to listen, and, then it's going to be weird. And the military and the police, a lot of them are not going to listen either, but I don't think it's going to get to that point. But if it does, don't be a doomer and a gloomer. It's like, we're never going to win. It's over. It's like, nah, we'll be fine. We'll make it happen. And if we don't, at a certain point, we'll make it anyway. I'm not worried about it. Year, he's got to walk a fine line, probably. But also, I don't think he doesn't know that much about health. He's not. Trump is a marketing wizard. Trump is a talker. Trump is I'm not saying this in a negative way, in a positive way. He's a loudmouth. He knows how to talk, get his way, say what he wants. Business deals. He understands foreign policy, I think, pretty well. He's pretty good on wars and stuff. Health is not his thing. He doesn't understand the health industry. He's not a scientist. He's not an expert. And I don't think that's something that he's ever been strong in. I mean, he drinks like Diet Coke and eats McDonald's all the time. I'm not knocking it. He's really healthy. He's got a strong mind, a strong body. But you get what I'm saying? He's not like a holistic wizard. He's questioned vaccines and stuff in the past. But he doesn't, it's not a strong point. They figured out something that he's not good at and kind of surrounded him, I think, honestly. And I think he's trying to, either he doesn't care or he's trying to do the right thing. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Connection available. All right, I'm going to take off, guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Appreciate you guys for being here. If you want to watch this later, go to my BitChute channel, bitchute.com/dreamrare. You can watch it on YouTube too. This will be up. I'll keep this up on Facebook probably all day. And then, I'll probably delete it in the morning or something on Facebook, put it on YouTube, BitChute, let people watch the other videos. And unless I slack off, I shouldn't. But I have a really good concept for like a big video. I'm just putting it off because these are more fun for me. I like doing these. The other ones are cool. They're rewarding after they're done, but it takes me like 6 hours to edit and put out and stuff. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it's literally what I do, so it's okay. So I'll do that probably the rest of the day. Try to have a video out in the morning or the evening tomorrow, and that's it. Appreciate you guys, and yeah, I'll be back.